disappears to the dreamers, the seekers, the wise. Crystal lavender will reach in the skies. Through tarot and starlight will always roam. In the heart of the universe we found our home. Those where the mystics play. We speak the language of the Milky Way. A touch of Venus, a kiss from the moon, guiding lost hearts with a sweet, gentle tune.
Hello, hello, welcome here, welcome back. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, whatever part of the world you're on, whatever time you're watching this video. This episode of As the Tarot Turns is brought to you on purpose with purpose, and I am your host, Crystal Lavender. Some people know me as Criddle, some people know me as Nacho Mama, but I'm going to go with my God-given name, which is Crystal Lavender. So thank you guys so much for being here. This is going to be your weekly check-in for May 5th through the 11th. I know I usually do the individual signs. I ran into some major technical difficulties, so I wanted to make sure that I got something out for you guys. Okay, so we're going to do this for today, and thank you for being patient and your support and all that stuff. So all right, we're going to start with Aries. And it is all oracle cards, all oracle all the time. No, all oracle for this week. Okay, so Aries at 121. We're going to see what we got going on for the week of April 5th or May 5th through the 11th. All right. Do a general message, some angel numbers, kind of do your finances, just an energy check, see what's going on here. All right. So the first card we got is nature communication, flower energies, fairy energy, and elemental messages. So you might be spending a lot of time in the garden. I mean, it is springtime. It is that time to plant and to communicate and to just dig your feet into the dirt, get a little bit dirty, Aries, just get a little dirty. All right. You might be getting messages from the birds, leaving you feathers. You might have like a bunch of crows or ravens that are doing things in your garden. I feel like just getting out in nature, communicating with nature and getting back in touch with the ground, like grounding and putting your feet in the dirt, your hands in the dirt, getting a little bit dirty is your theme for this week. Planting some flowers. Even if you live in an apartment, you could do the container gardening. You could do vertical gardening, you could do container gardening. There's so many ways to go about it. Pixie says hello, of course. So don't let living in an apartment stop you from growing some flowers. You could grow tomatoes in a vertical garden. You can grow cucumbers in a vertical garden. You could grow so much in those little garden beds and growing them vertically. So tap into Mother Nature, all right? And we got 1011. Hope, new beginnings, fresh start, lifestyle, purpose, spiritual awakening. This is a call to action to move forward. The sooner you get going, the sooner you will accomplish what you set out to do. Those with patience will eventually reap the rewards of their perseverance. So get out there and get busy, all right? Get to moving. Get outside. Stay consistent. It's not always about making huge leaps all at once, but making consistent leaps, moving consistently. So get to moving. New beginnings, fresh start. Fresh dirt, fresh start. Rinse and repeat and try it again today, right? I feel that hardcore. So what do we got? Says, if you think that you are alone, you are not. We are beside you in all challenges that you face. Trust the outside sources will always be working with you to ensure the best outcome in every situation. We have your best interest at heart. We love you. So you are not alone. They're watching, always watching, okay? Always with you, always watching. So something about new beginnings, like taking a step towards a new beginning, it's okay to start over. Sometimes everything has to fall apart in order for it to fall in place. And you might feel like you're all alone in your adventures, or you might just feel very lonely right now. But I guarantee you that it is all for a purpose and for a reason. And it won't always be this way, okay? It won't always be this way. If you can remember a time that it wasn't this way, then that's proof right there by itself that it won't always be this way. All right. That's the thing about life. The only thing that's guaranteed is change, you know. Only thing guaranteed in life is death, but in between life and death, there is also a guarantee that things are just going to move rapidly. Things are going to change. It's always in fluctuation, you know, the ebb and flow of life. Nothing remains stagnant. Even if you're standing still, the world is still spinning at like 2,600 miles an hour. So there is no such thing as standing still. It might feel like you're not getting anything done or that you're not moving forward, but you're making huge leaps and bounds without even really noticing it. All right. So right now, you might be in a position where you're completely starting over. You might be starting from scratch. I don't know. I heard something about sourdough too. You know, the sourdough starters. Some of you might be starting from scratch. Might be making your own bread. You know, but you kind of feel like you're alone in your journey, but you're not alone in your journey. And get out and touch some nature. All right, get out and touch some nature. And we got denial. Are you refusing to face the reality about some aspect of your financial life? Oh, so either that's a card of like making changes, you know, like I don't know if you're in a position at work or something where you think that there is um, a lot of growth or a lot of movement, you know, and it's like facing the reality that you're in a spot that you really don't want to be in, or facing like there's some sort of reality that you're not ready to face, or you're not really wanting to look at as far as like your financial aspect goes. It says that you're in denial. So I'm not sure what you're in denial about, Aries, but there's something that you need to take a real good look at as far as your finances and what it is that you want to do. You know, like now is a time to like if you have a new start, you know, if you have a new start, that means that you can start from fresh. You can start over. It's like starting completely over. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like there's nothing wrong with starting over, or to, you know, to find a new position. Like if you really just hate where you're at or what it is that you're doing, there's no shame in starting somewhere new. Okay. So it looks like you have a lot of new there's a lot of new going on. You know, in order for things to be new, something old has to go away. You know, like the it doesn't just bring you new and you get to keep the same. Like no, the new comes when the old dies out, or the old is pushed out. So you can't have new until the things that you're letting go of are let go of. You got to let go in order to have something new. All right, Aries. I love you guys so very much. Please remember to hit that little like button and subscribe. I know this is a little different than what I usually do, but yeah, I learned a valuable technological lesson. All right. So I love you guys. See you next time. All right. Boom, beep, beep. Taurus, hi Taurus, welcome here, welcome back. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, whatever part of the world you're on, whatever time you're watching this video. We are going to do an energy check for the week of May 5th through the 11th, and it is an all oracle this time. All of the recordings that I did earlier had technical difficulties, so I wanted to make sure I got you guys something. So we are doing this for right now. I love you guys so very much. Please remember to hit that little like button and subscribe. But we're going to do your oracles for today, okay, for the week of May 5th through the 11th. See what we got going on for Team Taurus. This is painting the roses red, covering up errors. So somebody around you is either fabricating something or you're fabricating something, like you're sweeping something underneath the rug, trying not to look at a specific situation, or trying not to take accountability, or, you know, giving excuses for someone else taking accountability. There's something that you are definitely not wanting, either not wanting to come to the surface or just not wanting to face. There might be a reality that you're not particularly fond of, that you don't want to face. Or you could be literally covering up some sort of mistake that you made, you know, sweeping it under the rug, like just pretending and hoping and waiting that nobody will notice. Or somebody is doing that with you, like they're covering up their tracks, or trying to change the situation, you know, even though none of them roses are red. It's like she's painting them roses red, you know, even though like she gets to go out and buy new red roses, you know, just go get a red rose. You ain't got to paint all of them red. But for some reason, instead of facing a reality, it's like it's like changing it to what you want it to be, or they're changing it to what they want it to be, rather than it being what it is. That's a card of like not letting it be what it is. And it says covering up errors. So don't be sweeping stuff underneath the rug. And if you if there was something that you did that you need to own up to, like, go ahead and own up to it. You know what I mean? I know they say that it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is permission, but in reality, I mean, come on now. Um, Either somebody is not being truthful, or you're not being truthful with yourself. All right. So don't be sweeping things underneath the rug. Make sure that you're seeing them for what they truly are. The roses are not red. All right. The roses are not red. Somebody's painting them red. So you could be looking through rose-colored glasses at a situation, trying to see things for the way that you want to see them rather than for what they are. So take off them rose-colored glasses and quit painting the roses red. All right. What do we got for your angel number? 0330. Love, peace, hope, optimism, transferring responsibilities to others, progress, and creativity. So pursue your goals and get what you want. It will provide wonderful benefits for you and the people that you hold dear. Your ability to communicate is improving at this time, which will make it easier for you to interact with a broad spectrum of individuals. So I think your network is, like, you might be expanding your network. They say your network is your net worth, right? So it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And I believe that your ability to intermingle with any sort of different, like, it doesn't matter like what sort of people you're around. I think that you could get along with anyone at any time on any level, right? You're just one of those people that are really adaptable, or one of those people that people just like in general, like you're really like, it doesn't matter if they're like super high class, or if you're talking to somebody in the gutter. It's like you can relate to people, and like it says interact with a broad spectrum of individuals. So you're really good no matter where you're at. You might be really good at closing deals or introducing people to the people that the people need to know. You could be a bridge between people, kind of like the middleman. You might be a middleman in some aspect, but your network is gaining momentum. Pursue your goals and get what you want. It will provide wonderful benefits for you and the people you hold dear. So whatever it is that you are trying to obtain is not just for your own personal wealth. It's like it's going to help everyone around you, not just yourself. Which in the broad spectrum, it usually comes a lot faster when it's more than just for ourselves anyways. Like, something about the way that you will be able to carry yourself. It says lucky shirt. I don't know if any of you have a lucky shirt, or you have a lucky number wearing your lucky shirt. You might be going to a gig. There might be some sort of talent scout, or somebody that buys talent. You could be finding yourself in interesting positions as far as where you run into people. Like, I don't know if you're a photographer, and somebody just like sees your work, and I feel like you're going to be at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, because you never know who's watching. You never know who is invested in what it is that you're doing. Like, if you're a performer or you're an artist, like, always keep that face, like, always keep your game face on. Always like, look at everybody like they're a prospect, potential talent scout. Everybody that you run into is a potential talent scout. So make sure that you are treating the janitor just as well as you're treating the CEO, because the janitor could be the CEO in disguise, type of deal. Like, you never know who's who. You never know who's who on them streets. All right. So just treat everybody like they are a possible talent scout, or that they are the possible CEO of a business, and like, keep that going. Okay. Because you never know who it is that you're going to run into. All right. What else do we got? Find ways to fill your cup. Be self-full, right? You're supposed to pour from your overflow, not from your own cup. Follow your heart and always trust your intuition. Go deep within. Find your triggers and address them one by one. Self-healing is the best healing. Only then can you offer the best version of yourself, right? If we're pointing fingers at everybody else for our own triggers, it's not other people's responsibility to tiptoe around us. It's our responsibility to address our own triggers. I mean, when you're working in a partnership with somebody, like if it's somebody that you are super close to, it's a little bit different, like they're still not responsible for making sure that they don't trigger you, but at the same time, there is a little bit of teamwork there, like say one person does the dishes all the time, and one other person gets mad every time that you stick a dish inside the dishwasher, or you don't stick a dish inside the dishwasher. Sometimes we cannot change another person's actions whatsoever. We can't make them stick the dish in the dishwasher. We can't make them do it. As much as we would try to beg and plead and whatever, like we can't make somebody do something. But you know what we can do? We can work on ourselves. We can work on how we respond to that thing happening. So instead of getting super pissed off and flipping your lid if the person doesn't stick their dish in the dishwasher, you can try to not get so upset by it, right? Because you have no control if they stick the dish in there or not, but you do have control how it affects you, how you respond to it. So there's something going on outside of yourself that is, like you're not going to be able to change the way somebody else is acting. You have no control over them, but you do have control over yourself. So we might not be in a place, it's finding our own triggers. That's how we heal ourselves, is like going in and like, okay, I was really triggered by that. How can I not react that way? How can I work on not having that emotional reaction to this specific trigger? Because the triggers are always going to be there. Until you work on them inside yourself. I mean, there are things that are going to happen throughout your day that somebody might not be aware of. And it's not other people's job to tiptoe around your triggers. It's our job to fix them inside of ourselves. Like, okay, I was really triggered by that. How can I react less volatile about it? How can I heal this reaction inside myself to this specific trigger? Because lots of times you can't fix the triggers. You can't fix the outside circumstances that cause them, but you can work on how you feel about them, how you react to them. So that's always like finding those triggers and healing them. Like that's all, I mean, that's doing the best that we can do, so make sure that you're being the best version of yourself. All right. Best version of yourself by healing those things, by healing those responses, really, because you can't really heal the trigger itself, but you can heal how you react to it. All right. What else do we got? Artist. So a true artist lives their art. Let your life be a canvas and you will create your greatest masterpiece. Yeah, you are the author of your choose your own adventure book. Like we only have this one lifetime to live in this lifetime, right? And it goes by so fast, and I'm really close with Archangel Azrael. Archangel Azrael is the angel of death. And what I've learned through studying Archangel Azrael is like as a human, we live our life, like we have so much regret at the end of our life, so much we wish we would have, so much we wish we didn't, so much we wish we could have, all of the chances that we didn't take because we were too scared, or we were bound by someone else's opinion. That's why to thy own self be true is really service to God, because the less that the archangel has to transmute into pure light energy, the less regrets you have in your life, the more purely you live from your own true self, from your own heart, the less that has to be, the less karma you get, the less regrets you have, the less transmutation that has to be done on your final days. When you look at your book, when you're standing there and you hear about your life story, when your life story goes through and flashes before you, the less regrets that you have in your life is the most pure that you can live. So to thy own self be true is really service to God. So live your art. All right, live your art. Let your life be an example of your artistic expression, okay? Because you are the author. You are the author. You are the CEO. You are all of it for your own life. Nobody can take that from you. All right. So if you would regret not doing something, regret not taking a chance, regret not painting that painting, regret not starting that business, if you would sit on your deathbed and wish you would have, then the time is now. Do it. Okay. Whatever it is that you wish you would have done, like live your life like that. Like, man, am I going to regret this on my deathbed if I don't do this, if I don't say something, if I don't start this business, if I don't try? Are you going to regret it? Start looking at life like that. All right. To thy own self be true is really service to God. All right, Taurus, I love you guys so very much. Thank you so much for being here. Please remember to hit that little like button on your way out. And if you would like a personal reading, please go to crystal-lavender.com and sign up for my weekly newsletter and get a free copy of my book. All right, I love you guys. All right, boom, beep, beep. Gemini. Hello, Gemini. Hi, Gemini. Welcome here. Welcome back. So this is your weekly check-in for May 5th through the 11th. All right. I know this is a little different than what I usually do, but I had to learn a very valuable lesson. So let's see what we got for the week of May 5th through the 11th for Team Gemini. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please remember to hit that little like button and subscribe. And if you would like a personal reading, you can go to my website at crystal-lavender.com. And all of that stuff will be in the description box. All right. All right. So Gemini, what do we got? We got choices, feeling blocked and restrained. So we are all free to make our choices, but none of us are free from the consequences of our choices. Okay. And none of us are free from the ripples of other people's choices either. I mean, sometimes like we make choices and other people make choices that ripple out, and there's cause and effect. There's always cause and effect. So you are always free to make your choice, always. Even if it feels like you don't have a choice, like everybody's like, oh, I don't have a choice. I have to. It's like, no, you still had a choice. You just didn't like the consequences of making that choice. We always have a choice. There's no such thing as I don't have a choice. Like pretty much, I mean, there's very rare circumstances where you literally do not have a choice anymore. But it feels like you're either stopping yourself or somebody is blocking you. Okay. But they're not really blocking you. You're allowing them to block you from making whatever this choice is. If there's something that you really want to do, all right, make sure that you're not listening to other people's opinions. Okay. You might lose that person, but that's part of the consequence, of making this choice. So it's not that you can't make the choice. You just don't like the idea of what would happen if you do make this choice. So don't let people make you believe that you are stuck in any sort of circumstances or situation. Like I've never been stuck nowhere ever. There were times where I felt like I was stuck, especially when I was like hitchhiking and whatnot. I'd be hitchhiking on the side of the road. I felt like I was stuck somewhere for days, dude, not getting anywhere. And I would cross the street and get a ride within seconds. I'd be stuck on one side of the road trying to get somewhere for days and days. I try to go in one specific direction. And then finally I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go back the way I came. Maybe there's something I missed back there. I would cross the street and literally get a ride within minutes, get picked up. I'm like, all right, universe, I guess I'm supposed to go back the way that I came. Right. Sometimes it's not about like, I don't know. We try really hard to control a lot of the situation. And sometimes that puts a clamp down on the universe and it gives it no artistic expression. If creator is the artist of all, right? Like 5 stars to creator for sure, man. Like this planet is beautiful. Things are beautiful. But if we're constantly trying to control something, then it leaves no creative artistic expression for the universe to give you what it is that you want. Sometimes what we think we want is really, really not very good for us. Okay. So there are conversations that you didn't hear. There are things that happen behind closed doors. There's something going on, like, especially if you feel like you're being blocked from a specific person or a job or an opportunity. It's like sometimes those opportunities, like every rejection is actually protection. Okay. You don't know what universe or God, whatever you want to call it, sees on the other side of that. So be thankful for the opportunities that you thought you wanted to have, but you didn't get. Okay. Because you don't know what's on the other side of that. All right. But you're not blocked. It's not that you're blocked. you are free to make a choice. Okay. You're free to make the choice, but none of us are free from the consequences of our choices. And that's really what it boils down to. That's really what it boils down to. So you might not like the consequence of a choice that you want to make, you know. And sometimes those are the hardest ones. It's like when we know what we need to do, but we know that it's going to suck. It's going to hurt, it's going to suck, and we really don't want to have to make that phone call. We don't want to have to make that choice. We don't want to be the ones that actually it's like universe, can you just make it happen for me? I really don't want to be the one that has to implement this. And it's like, but you're the one that's got to do it. You're going to be the one that has to do it. Okay? It's not just going to magically happen. You're going to have to do it. All right, what else do we got? Have more faith in yourself. Be proud of how you are navigating every curveball that life throws at you. How you deal with those times shows your true inner resilience. Nothing can break that. That in itself is inspiration for others. Keep shining your light. You're like, yeah, but when is it gonna stop being like that? It's like, yeah, like I've already proven to myself that I have made it through 100% of every single one of the challenges and every single obstacle that's ever been thrown at me. I have 100% made it through all that. But why do I gotta keep doing that? You know what I mean? I feel you. Okay. I feel that on a very deep level. Oh, I don't know. They say that the only way to know for sure if we know something is if we can teach it. So there might be something that you are going through right now that is going to be like a guidebook for someone else's survival. You might even be in the process of writing your own memoir, of your life story. There's things that you're going through right now that you're going through. I mean, maybe to be able to help your children further down the road with this similar circumstance. There are some things that you're going through right now, so that way you can teach it later. All right. Because it says that in itself is inspiration for others. So you never know who's going to be watching you on the other side of all of this chaos, or this struggles, or these obstacles that you've been going through. There's a greater significance for it than what you might understand right now. Like, you might not understand it right now, but in the future, you're going to look back at some of these challenges and some of these obstacles, and it's going to all make sense. It might not make sense right now because you haven't quite made it through the other side of whatever this obstacle is. But at some point in the future, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, oh, I see why I had to go through that, because if I wouldn't have went through that and I wouldn't have went through this, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in right now. So have faith that whatever it is that you're going through right now, whatever this challenge is that you're going through right now, is got a greater significant meaning than that you're not allowed to know in this moment. Because if you knew right now, you would sabotage it. Okay. So in order for your destiny to fall into place, for all of the dots to connect, it's going to require a little bit more faith. It says have more faith in yourself. Okay. Be proud of yourself of what you've accomplished so far. Don't get stuck in that victimhood. Like, we ain't in the hood. All right. Get out of the hood and just know that there is a reason for whatever it is that you're going through. And it will be shown to you why all these pieces had to fit the way that they fit. I mean, who knows? You could be helping inspire the next world's greatest leader, the next world's prophet, or you never know who's watching you. Okay. Like, your mission is just as important. Like, the mission that you're on is just as important on who it is that you're raising, or who it is that's watching you, as it is for that person to emerge into the world. Okay. So you never know who it is that you're inspiring by you being you and you accomplishing what you've accomplished. And we've got 2002, the void. Longing, technology, ambition, genius, forward thinking, stress, and depression. You have more control over your life than you realize. Learn and execute what interests you. Turn things around. It gets better with time. I mean, time doesn't heal all wounds. It makes it make more sense, but it definitely doesn't heal it. Okay. There are plenty of friends to make, so chill out, have fun, and open up and go outside. So you might be going through it. It looks like you're kind of going through something right now that's pretty challenging, that you might consider to be unfair. But there is a bigger picture to all of this, especially if people have been taken out of your life right now, like if friends have fallen out, family has fallen out, you're having fallouts with family or friends. It's because they don't serve your highest good. All right. They're not supposed to be there for the long run, and sometimes it's like, it makes us really sad. It's like, well, how come I ain't got no family? Most of the real family I have is actual friends that have turned into family. Like, blood just makes you related. Loyalty makes you family. All right. And sometimes that's a hard lesson to learn, but it is what it is, right? I'm sure all of us can pretty much relate with that blood don't just because you're a relative, just because you're blood doesn't make you family. Sometimes them are the biggest haters we got. And it's sad, but it's true, but whatever it is that you're going through right now, there's a lesson in it, not necessarily just for you, but for someone else that's super significant in your life, or that has a very super significant mission in their life. Like, you're going to help them on their path. All right. Inner work. So don't be afraid to prioritize your personal growth and spiritual development. Health and wellness are necessary to enjoy an abundant life. So make sure you, like, even like sometimes doing what's best for us. Like we always talk about loving ourselves. Oh yeah, I'm boss bitch. I'm an emperor. I'm an empress. I'm a divine masculine. I'm a divine feminine. But in all reality, we are all someone else's karmic. We have all been someone's karmic. We have all played every single role. Okay. We have all been the victim, the heroine, the liar, the lied to, the heartbreaker, the heartbroken. It's like, we have to play every single one of those roles before we can truly step into our own divinity, because otherwise we don't understand what it feels like, like we don't understand how bad, like, I don't know. I've learned in my life, like when I was the liar, like it hurt me a lot to be a liar, right? A whole lot to lie to someone, for someone to find out that I lied to them. Like I had to learn a whole lot in my life about playing all of those roles. It's not just what other people have done to us, but it's also what we have done to others. You take one for the life, take one for the team, and one for the people that we've hurt, right? But we never really discuss how much loving ourselves really encompasses, by having to say no, or breaking off ties, making these hard choices, like not because we don't love somebody, because we know they're not fucking good for us, that we know that they are not good for us, and we don't want to have to make that choice. But I feel like there's a choice here that you're like, it's not going to be made for you. You have to, like, it's part of the process, is actually making those really hard decisions, and not because you want to teach somebody a lesson, not because you're trying to play games, not because you want somebody to chase you. It's because you just know that they're not good for you. You know that it's not good for you, and you love yourself more than that. Those are some of the hardest choices I've ever had to make. When I know that I love somebody, but I know that I love you, but I can't, you know what I mean? And it hurts. It hurts a whole lot to have to choose yourself, because we're so conditioned to be people pleasers that when we actually have to, when it comes down to it and we have to choose ourselves, it makes us feel like a bad guy, makes us feel like a villain, like we're a piece of shit. But in reality, that's part of this lesson of loving yourself, is making those hard ass choices. All right. I love you, Gemini. You've got this. There is absolutely a significant meaning behind all of these things that you're going through right now, and through this choice that you have to make. Okay. So just have more faith in yourself, and choosing yourself does not make you the bad guy. All right. It does not. As I know it hurts. It hurts. I feel you, but it does not make you the bad guy. All right. I love you guys so much. And until next time, be good to yourself and others always and always. Hello, hello. Hi, Cancer. Welcome here. Welcome back. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, whatever part of the world you're on, whatever time you're watching this video. So this is your weekly check-in for May 5th through the 11th. All right, I know I usually do the individual readings, but we had some technical difficulties, so we're going to do it this way for this time around, all right? We'll be back to our regular scheduled program by next week. So thank you guys so much for being here. Please remember to hit that little like button on your way in or on your way out. And if you would like a personal reading, you can go to crystal-lavender.com, sign up for my weekly newsletter, and get a free download of my book. Okay, so Cancer, what do we got for the week of May 5th through the 11th? Forget who you are. Conditions fall away. Memory no longer defines you. So you might be real caught up in some sort of identity that you've had, or just like a reputation, or like the way, like we're not even our own human bodies, right? Like we're not the color of our hair. We are not our job. We are not all of these things that the world conditions us to believe that we are. So I feel like there's a part of your identity that you are recreating. I don't know if you're recreating yourself and who it is that you truly are, or what it is that you truly believe in. I know for a long time, like I had dreadlocks for like 20 years, and that was part of my identity, and it feels weird right now for me to not have dreadlocks, but it's like I had to sever myself from that part of my identity in order to recreate a new version of myself, right? So you might be in the process of recreating yourself, and you're severing yourself from your old identity, from whatever, like maybe you had some sort of nickname that you don't go by no more. You're like, nah, I don't go by that name no more. That's not who I am no more. So you're not only having to remind yourself that you're not that person, but you might be having to remind other people that that's not who you are anymore either. I don't know. I feel like you've been doing a lot of elevating. You've been elevating your own, expanding your own consciousness, and elevating your character. There are some people that are going to have to get to know you all over again. They don't know this new version of who you are. They only remember the version that they have in their mind. And it's funny, like, no matter, like, everyone has a different version of us. Like, your mom has a different version of you than your best friend. Your best friend has a different version of you than your roommate, or your neighbor. It's like everybody sees you from this different perspective. Like, nobody on the planet sees you the exact same as another person, or as yourself, as you see yourself. So forget who it is that you used to be. All right. Like, you are not your past. You are not the mistakes that you made in your past. Sure, it's part of an encompassment of who you are creating, or who it is that you are becoming, but that doesn't mean that's who you are. Okay. You are allowed to evolve and change. So don't let some sort of label or box or, perception stop you from expanding out of that. Like, you are expanding out of that box. You're not in that box no more. Okay. Like, yeah, sure, that might be who you used to be, but that's not who you are anymore. So don't let people like bring up your past and define you by that. You don't define yourself by that either. Like, you are not that person anymore. That was a different you in a different time, in a different space. Okay, that person is a memory, not in the now moment. All right, that's a part of who you are, but that's not who you are. Okay. And it says you are doing your best, and that is enough. Any difficulties you face will not last forever. Release the thoughts and feelings that don't feel good. Focus all of your energy on love, happiness, and your hopes and dreams. So they say that if we live in fear, that means we're living in the future, right? If we have a lot of anxiety or fear, that means that we're projecting our now, like we're worried about the future. If we live in shame or regret, that means that we're living in the past. So examine what your feelings are really telling you. Like, are you living in a lot of worry, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety? That means that you're projecting yourself into the future instead of being in the now. And if you're living with a lot of like regret or shame or fear, that means that you are living in your past and not in your present either. So how do you become more present in the now? Right? Because the now is the most important. We live in the past, the present, and the future all simultaneously, right? We're living in the present moment of our past thoughts while creating the future in our now. So what you're thinking about and your actions that you're doing now are the most important. Like, who cares what you did in your past, and your future hasn't happened yet. So you might as well set yourself up for success in the now. Okay, set yourself up for success, because, and don't compare yourself. Like, the comparison is the thief of joy. If you're comparing yourself to the people around you, like the people around you, like, you might be surrounded by a bird, and you could be an otter. So you can't be beating yourself up for the fact that you can't fly. You know what I mean? If you're comparing yourself to other people, it's like, well, you might be a tree and the person, or you might be a flower and the person next to you is a tree. Okay. We all have our own unique qualities, that is beautiful. That is us. And you don't see the rock comparing itself to the tree, and then getting sad because it's not the tree, or that it doesn't have leaves. It's like the rock is just a rock and it accepts itself for what it is. That's the reality. But we as humans have a tendency to compare ourselves to our neighbor, to compare ourselves to, oh, well, I'm not succeeding in this way, but I'm sure you're succeeding in a million other ways that somebody else isn't succeeding in. So we're really hard on ourselves. Like, we're our own worst critic. So don't be your own worst critic. Okay. Cause you're doing the very best, and that's all you can do. Okay. And don't compare yourself to anyone else. And if somebody is comparing you to someone else, then shut them down. Like, shut them down. You ain't got no time for that negativity. All right. You're doing your best, and that's all that you can do. So focus on setting yourself up for success instead of living in your past fears or regrets. All right. Use it as fuel to fuel you, not as a reason to stop and not succeed. Okay. And you got 1717. Drama alert. Independence, soul mission, alone time, learning, healing, and aspirations. Take a few deep breaths and focus inwards. You need time to think things over and consider your options. At this time, you must rely solely on yourself. You might not believe it, but you are heading in the right direction. What appears to be a lull in activity is just a natural part of the process. Because even if you're standing still, you're still like, even if we are standing perfectly still, not moving a muscle, not moving an inch, the planet is still spinning at like 2,600 miles an hour. There is no standing still. It's moving. Everything is moving, whether we wanted to or not. Like, the standing still is an illusion. Stillness is an illusion. Stagnancy is an illusion, because time is still moving. It's still ticking, rather if we are paying attention to it or not. Okay. So so it says you need time to think things over and consider your options. Make sure that you're not making any sort of rash decisions and not making decisions purely off of emotion. Okay. Some of the stupidest decisions I've ever made in my life have been an emotional decision. Like, yeah, that's not very logical. We're just going to throw a temper tantrum over here and be illogical about it. You know what I mean? And like, some of those decisions are the ones that I've regretted the most in my life, have been an emotional response to something. So if you're feeling highly emotional about a situation, definitely take a couple deep breaths. Okay. Take some deep breaths and don't react emotionally, because usually, like, when we act out of emotion, we usually regret it. We regret what we say. We regret how we act. We regret, having that sort of reaction or that outburst or, the reaction. So make sure that you are taking a couple deep breaths before you make any sort of serious movement. Okay. Because if you're acting out of anger or sadness or fear, yeah, just evaluate before you actually make any sort of serious decision or actually say something about a situation. Okay. Make sure that you are taking some deep breaths and analyzing logically. Make sure that you're using your logical mind and not just your emotional mind. Okay. And this is freedom of location. So this is your money aspect. This is a truly prosperous life is one with freedom to travel and freedom to live in the locations that you desire. So yeah, everybody talks about being rich. We all want money, but it's not really the money we want. We want the freedom to be able to do whatever it is that we want, to buy what we want, to go where we want, to be where we want to be. So you might be accepting some sort of position to where you can travel, or you can wake up when you want to, set your own schedule, do what it is that you want, but that also comes with challenges. When you're your own boss, like, you got to make sure that you actually get up and do what it is that you're that you're supposed to do. um but it looks like you are setting yourself free, or there is a opportunity for some sort of financial freedom, freedom of location. So you could be a delivery driver. I have friends that do that they do DoorDash, or they do Spark, or they do Grubhub, and you can do that in any town, in any place, at any time that you wish, right? That's pretty impressive, because that wasn't available like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we didn't have all of these different options for financial freedom like that, to be able to travel wherever we want and still get paid. You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of unheard of. So there's a lot of opportunities that are opening up right now as well. I mean, the whole financial system's about to completely get a rehaul anyways, but still, like, you might be given an opportunity to where you have freedom to travel, or your job is just going to allow you to travel, or you're going to get paid for traveling in general. But that was the freest that I ever was. Like, when I used to hitchhike back in the day, when I had absolutely nothing, it's like, does our stuff own us, or do we own our stuff? You know, when I had absolutely nothing but what I had on my back, that was truly the freest I ever was. Like, it didn't matter. Like, oh, where am I going? It does not matter. How long am I staying? It doesn't matter. Like, I had absolutely no true destination. No, I was not preoccupied with getting to a specific place. Like, I was just merely free flowing freely from one place to another, meeting different people, having new experiences. Um, so some of you might be embarking on that type of adventure, where you're just like freeing yourself up, to go where the wind takes you. Maybe you've been tied to a specific location like most of your life, and you are setting yourself free to explore. So that's pretty dope. All right, Cancer, I love you guys so very much. This is your reading for May 5th through the 11th. Please remember to hit that little like button on your way out, and be good to yourself and others, always and always. See you next time. Vroom, beep, beep. Team Leo, hello, hello. Welcome here, welcome back. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, whatever part of the world you're on, whatever time you're watching this video. So this is your energy check-in for the week of May 5th through the 11th. I know I usually do the individuals, but I ran into some technical difficulties and learned a very valuable lesson. So we're doing it this way for this week. All right. I'll get back to my regularly scheduled program by next week. But for right now, we're going to do it this way. All right. So thank you guys so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your support. I love you guys so very much. So very, very much. So let's see what we got for the week of May 5th through the 11th for Team Leo. Shine bright like a candle. You will make it through this. So there's something that might be going on in your immediate surroundings that is needing you to have a positive, like, there's somebody that needs your positive outlook, that needs your cheery disposition, that needs your optimism. All right. There might be somebody that's looking towards you on how to act about a specific situation, and if you carry yourself, like, even if, like, okay, you get a flat tire, you know what I mean? Like, having a flat tire, like, according to, um, according to most people, like, that would be a bad situation, that would give you a reason to have a bad day. And it's like, just because a bad situation happens doesn't mean that you have to have a bad attitude or have a bad day. Don't let a bad moment turn your day into being a bad day, turning your week into being a bad week, turning your week into a month, and then your month into a year. Okay, like, those things, like, snowball on each other. So I think how you handle yourself in the middle of a like dramatic situation, or something that could be potentially, like, most people would have had a breakdown and threw a fit or whatever, how you handle yourself in a stressful situation is going to be extremely important this week through May 5th through the 11th. So whatever is sent to throw you off guard, All right. Just I've learned that laughter helps a lot. Like if something bad happens to me throughout the day or whatever, like I just did a bunch of recordings and had no sound. And instead of getting mad about it, like, I mean, sure, it's upsetting. It's like, oh man, but I just laugh, dude. I laugh and laugh. So laughter absolutely will help a situation. I know some people like laugh at inappropriate things, and I completely get that. But um like laughter is going to be your key, keeping an optimistic attitude and a sunny disposition during some sort of like seemingly chaotic event will make it not so chaotic, will make it not that bad. It's like your reaction to whatever's happening is what makes it super bad or not bad. How you view it, how you react to it is completely all on you. Like we have no control over the weather. You know what I mean? But how we react to the weather, we can either go out in the rain and dance, or we can fucking curse at the sky. But either way, like we're gonna have just as much rain and that much less joy if we're out there cursing at the sky while it rains, because it's still gonna rain no matter what. But how you choose to respond to it is completely on you. So I know there's lots of people out there that have they just get a whole bad attitude about some shit, and it's like the shit happens no matter what. Shit's gonna happen no matter what. But how you react to it, you could either take it with stride and keep it pushing, or you could curse at the sky. But either way, it's gonna rain. So don't let it steal your joy. And we got, if it's meant to be, it will be. You won't have to force, convince, worry over it. Let it flow, let it be, and let it come to you. You are attracting everything you need. Trust the timing of your life, right? We don't chase, all right? Don't be chasing nothing. Because if you're chasing something, what is it going to do? It's going to run, you know? Like they talk about the law of attraction and manifestation, right? Well, the whole idea of being ready to be ready to be ready doesn't mean that you don't make any sort of moves towards it. Like if you're going to go out fishing, okay, you're going to take your fishing pole, you're going to take your bait, you're going to take your tackle box and your line or whatever to hold the fishes, or a net. You're not just going to show up at the fucking lake or the river and be like, okay, fish, here I am. Get into the boat, get into the water, get in my line. You're like, the fish is like, you're just not going to stand there and wait for a fish to jump onto your fucking stringer. You're going to go there with a lure, and a fishing pole, but you're still attracting the fish. Like the bait is attracting the fish. Like you can't just not do nothing and expect shit to fall in your lap. That's like a boxer. A boxer, like the NFL or the NFL player, like an NFL player is like training, ready to be ready to be ready to be ready, right? He's not calling up the NFL like, hey, you should come to my practice and see how I do. No, the NFL shows up because you're ready to be ready to be ready, and they see that you're ready. So you can't just, I mean, if it's meant to be, it'll be, yes, but you can't just not do nothing. Like you have to actually put action towards what it is that you want. Like it's not just like the fish ain't just going to jump into your boat just because you showed up at the lake. You actually have to bring a freaking fishing pole. You got to be ready to be ready. All right. And we got 1919, karma, warning, judgment, cycles, influence, power, changes, and rebirth. Karma will be paying you a visit. People always act like karma is a bad thing. Like I hope you have the day that you deserve. You know what I mean? And whatever it is that you put out is what you're gonna get back. Like that. Like when people are like, oh, I hope you get your karma. Like that makes me excited. I'm like, fuck yeah. Like hell yeah, hell to the yeah. I'm down. You know what I mean? It all depends on what it is that you got going on in your own life. If that's a scary, like, does that scare you? Karma will be paying you a visit. Does that does that phrase right there like scare you? Then maybe you got some evaluating to do. Like, yeah, release the need to control because you cannot force things. Learn your lessons so they don't repeat in the future. Make some space for new experiences. I don't know. Karma, there's no such thing as Captain Karma. It doesn't work like that. It's not some superhero in the sky that's going around kicking everybody's asses. Karma works both ways. But the things that we know we absolutely should not be doing, if you know that what you're doing is wrong, then the consequences for your actions are going to get harder and harder and harder. Like you know that stove is motherfucking hot the first time you touch it. The second time you touch it is going to be like a million times hotter, because it's been sitting there burning, So the more you do stuff that you absolutely know you shouldn't be doing, like don't do stuff you know you shouldn't do, okay? And don't allow other people to get away with some stuff that you know they shouldn't be getting away with. Because the only mistakes we make in life are the ones we don't learn from. All right. But if you honestly know that something's wrong, that you shouldn't be doing it, like you got to cover up, lie, steal, cheat, or whatever to get away with whatever it is that you're doing, then you shouldn't be doing it. All right. Unless you're like planning some surprise party or some shit. But if you got to lie, you got to cover it up, then you shouldn't be doing it. And when you get caught, the consequences for your actions every single time that you do some shit that you know you shouldn't be doing is going to get harder and harder and harder. The universe is going to come up and put that boot across your motherfucking forehead, give you the boot. It's going to get harder and harder, especially if you know that you shouldn't be doing something. Like, don't be doing some shit you know you shouldn't fucking do. All right? Don't do it. That it's so much easier just to be real, like real. You can't teach it. You either are or you aren't, you can't teach somebody how to be real. You either got that shit or you don't. And most of the realest mofos I know have learned the hard way about this shit. Like they don't fuck up no more because they already know that the universe come and put the boot on them, give them a motherfucking ass kicking. But sometimes we got to learn that hard way. The school of hard knocks, man. Fuck around and find out. Sometimes that's the best way to learn. Like, no, I'm cool. I'm cool on all that fucking around and finding out. I'm cool with that. Like, it's so much easier just to tell the truth than it is to fucking make lies over your lies. And I don't know if you're dealing with somebody like that, but if that's the case, like they will get found out. Whatever's done in the dark always comes to light. Always, without fail, always. It might not come exactly when you want it to come, but if you sit back and watch, you'll see it. You will see it. So yeah, don't fuck around and find out. If you know there's some shit that you shouldn't be doing, then don't do it. All right? It's pretty simple. Pretty fucking simple. It might not be easy. Doing what's right ain't always easy, but it's simple. Unworthy. Do you genuinely believe in your worthiness to attain the abundance you desire? Do you got some sort of like like you might have a poverty mindset, or you might have a like you might feel guilty for your own happiness, you might have some sort of survivor's guilt or feeling guilty. It's like, well, if I become super successful, then what about my family? What is my family going to do? They're going to miss me. I'm not going to be there. There might be some underlying like ancestral like trauma, especially if you grew up in poverty or something. You might have a unhealthy relationship with the idea of money. Like, do you believe that people with money are evil? Like it ain't the money's fault. It ain't the money's fault. The money didn't do it. The money is just a frequency. But the people who got it, you know what I mean? Like that's on them. So it's not the money. It's not the money that's the problem. All right. So you might have an unhealthy relationship with how you view money or how you view people with money. Like shit, I love money. It'll help me. It'll help my family. I can help the whole world with some money. But before, I used to get really angry. People that were privileged. I had this bad attitude towards people that had privilege because of the way that they handled that shit. Because they don't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like. But with each upgrade comes different challenges. Like I don't know what it's like to not know who my friends are. It's like when you have nothing, it's like easy to figure out who your friends are because you ain't got nothing. So you ain't got nothing for them to take. You ain't got nothing for them to steal. You ain't, like your friends are truly genuinely your friends. Like the people that are around you are pretty much truly genuinely like around because they want to be around, or it could be like a loneliness thing. But either way, people that are extremely wealthy, like they have a harder time figuring out who the real people are, you know. I don't know what other sort of challenges they got, but I guarantee you they got a bunch of challenges. But in some way or another, like you have an unhealthy view about either your relationship with money or like how you view yourself, you know. I don't know if you feel guilty about it or what, but there's something you got to check inside yourself, because it says, do you genuinely believe in your worthiness to attain the abundance you desire? And that's not like, you don't got to answer me. That's just for you to figure out. That's for you to evaluate. That's for you to look at, you know, and then do what you need to do to try to change your inner dialogue. Change your inner dialogue just a little bit. The best things I ever heard was, the universe says that is correct. Here's some more of whatever it is that you're thinking. So if you're like, I gotta save money, I gotta save money, I gotta save money, I gotta save money because I don't have enough money, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough money. The universe says that is correct. Here's some more. I gotta save money. It doesn't go, oh, hito or hita, I know you mean the exact opposite of that. You know what I mean? It doesn't say that shit. It says that is correct. Here's some more evidence that supports what it is that you believe. So your internal dialogue, what it is that you are saying, those are the most important conversations that you have throughout the day. The conversations you have with the universe, universe, one verse, one talk, you know, like talking to yourself. That is the most important conversations you have throughout the day. Like that whole, like, oh, here, that is correct, here's some more of, like, completely changed my fucking life, man. Completely changed my life. Helped me quit smoking. It helped me quit doing drugs. It helped me quit doing all kinds of stuff, man. Like, I am recovered on purpose. The universe said that is correct. You are recovered on purpose. I do not smoke cigarettes. That is correct. You do not smoke cigarettes. I have everything I need and then some. Everything I need and then some is provided for me. Always and always. The universe says that is correct. Everything you need and then some is provided for you, always and always. That's self-talk, man. Because I used to be like, oh, all of my friends are liars and they just steal from me, you know? And then, of course, all the friends that I had were liars and they stole from me. You know, now I ain't got none of that. All my friends are genuine, amazing people. All my friends are genuine and amazing people, you know? Whatever it is that you're telling yourself, the universe says that is correct. Here's some more of whatever it is that you're saying. So be mindful. If you don't like what that you don't like what's on the other side of that, you don't like to hear some more of, then you change a couple inner dialogues with yourself. You know, and it's a muscle memory. Like, our brains are a muscle. So it doesn't just happen overnight. You know, it takes some time. But watch. You start practicing that, you start changing a little bit of your inner dialogue and see what happens. Watch. Bet. All right. I love you guys so very much. This has been your reading for May 5th through the 11th. Please remember to hit the little like button on your way out, and be good to yourself and others always and always. Boom, beep, beep. Love you. Hello, hello. Hi, Team Virgo. Welcome here. Welcome back. Good morning, good night, good afternoon. This is your energy check for May 5th through the 11th. I know I usually do the individual readings, but I had a very valuable lesson to learn. So we're going to do it this way for right now, but we will be back to our regularly scheduled program by next week, okay? I love you guys so very much. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please remember to hit that little like button. And if you would like a personal private reading, you can go to my website at crystal-lavender.com. and sign up for my newsletter and get a free download of my book. Hopefully I've got all the bugs worked out. Like, I've had some technical difficulties in my website. There's some things going on behind the scenes, but we're going to get it figured out. All right. All right. So Virgo, what do we got going on for the week of May 5th through the 11th? Find the lesson. So discover the purpose in a situation. Trust that you are learning. You know, the greatest thing about this is, like, we are the only ones that can truly define a lesson, that can truly define the purpose, that can truly define what it is that we're going through, or why we're going through it, or what we need to learn from it. Somebody could come in and try to tell us, you know, oh, well, you did that, you learned this, or this happened because, you know, this and this and this. But unless like it makes some sort of light bulb click and you agree with it, then you still didn't, then you don't accept it. You know what I mean? We are the only ones that can examine whatever it is that we're going through and define why we went through that. or tie it, connect the dots to whatever it is that we needed to learn from that specific situation, or the outcome of the situation. Sometimes, and other times we look at stuff and we're trying to figure out the situation. We're trying to figure out why, especially if we're looking at why somebody did something the way that they did it. If we're dealing with somebody else, chances are they're fucking stupid. You know what I mean? They didn't have no ulterior motives. They're just mean and stupid. They weren't like plotting and planning in the background to be maniacal. It just is what it is. And sometimes we have a real hard time accepting that it is what it is. We're always trying to figure out the why. And when we're so focused on the why something happens, that means that we are absolutely refusing to take account, to accept that it just happened, that it is what it is, that it happened the way that it happened. When we are constantly focused on why something happened the way that it happened, then we're not living in the reality of that it happened. Okay. And sometimes shit just happens. All right. Shit's always going to happen. Sometimes there ain't even a why. It just is what it is. Maybe it was a course correction. Maybe you were veering off course and some had to come in and throw a spoke in that wheel and get you to land flat on your face, in order to get you off of some sort of path that you were on. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Sometimes it's just because people are stupid. They're stupid. They needed to learn a lesson, or you needed to learn something about that person. But the only people that can actually truly put the puzzle pieces together or connect the dots is you. There are other people that can make suggestions. Well, I suggest you connect this dot to this dot. But if you're like, nah, that don't make no sense, then it don't make no sense. You are the author of your connect your own dots. Okay. You're the only one that can truly assign any sort of anything, any kind of meaning. Nobody else has that power but you. They can all have their own opinion and believe whatever it is that they believe, but that's their truth. That doesn't necessarily make it your truth. Everybody else's truths are completely different. Everybody's opinions, like everybody's got an opinion, and opinions are like assholes, and everybody's got one, right? So what do we got for your spirit message card? Sometimes walking away is the only option, not because you want to make someone miss you or realize they took you for granted, but because you finally respect yourself enough to know you deserve better. I can't remember what sign I was talking to. I think it was Gemini. I think I was talking to Gemini about this, but like loving ourselves encompasses so much more than other people will let you in on. Loving ourselves is walking away because we know we deserve better. No matter how much it hurts, is leaving a situation because we know that situation ain't no good for us. No matter, like, it's making those hard decisions, making those really hard decisions, making those final calls when we really, really don't want to. Like, I don't want to make that call. I wish the universe would just come in and fucking knock the tower over instead of me having to do it. But that's part of the lesson, is you having to stick up for yourself, you having to make that final call, you making that decision for yourself. And not because you're playing games, not because you have some sort of ulterior motive, not because you just feel like being a fucking asshole or a bitch. It's like, no, because you know that that's what you need to do. It's like doing the thing that you know you need to do, even though you really don't want to. Like, I really don't want to make that phone call. I really, really don't want to. I don't want to be the one that has to make that decision. And sometimes the universe gives us no other fucking choice. We always have a choice. You can still not do it if you want to, but then you're going to live your life in regret, and always have the woulda, coulda, shouldas. So, you do have a choice ultimately, but accepting the consequences of those choices is a whole other ballgame, right? But making those decisions, those really, really tough ones that you really, really don't want to have to make, that's all part of the encompassment of learning to love yourself, is making those decisions. And it sucks, dude. It sucks so bad. It's so hard sometimes. It's hard to step away from a situation that you really, really want because it's not good for you. To step away from a job that you really, really had a lot of hope for because it just ain't good for you. And not because you have some sort of ulterior motive, not because you're trying to be rude or, being mean or playing games or whatever, just because like, and it sucks because the people that are on the other side of that situation don't realize how hard it is for you to make that decision. They only see the outcome. They don't see all of the back and forth and the sleepless nights and the wondering if you're doing the right thing and wishing that it could have gone different. They don't see none of that. All they see is like, oh, you cut me off. Like what an asshole or a bitch you are because you cut me off. You made this decision for yourself. Like, how selfish of you. And it's like they don't even know how much it took for you to actually finally make that decision. Like, how much thought, how much sleepless nights, how much you overthought, you're overthinking. Like, they don't know what it took for you to finally come to that realization. All they know is that all they see is your decision. They don't see what it took for you to make that decision. you know, and it's hard sometimes. Sometimes that is hard. 0440, the gut feeling. Yep. Intuition, betrayal, pessimism, relating, value, insight, increased perception, love, and monogamy. Follow your gut. These are all finding the lesson. Dude, making a hard ass choice, following your gut. These are all falling together. Be real with people and focus on meaningful relationships. Remember, you also must bring value to the table. Treat others with respect, or else karma will bite you in your ass. 3 is a crowd. So treat others as you want to be treated, no matter what it is that they're doing to you. Like, that's on them. It's not your job to teach other people to be a good people. It's only your job to be a good people. It's none of your fucking business what other people are doing. You know what I mean? It is not your job to make sure that somebody else is doing what it is that they're supposed to do. If they're not doing what it is that they're supposed to be doing, that's on them, not on you. All right? Like, it's not your job. Like, you ain't got to be nice. All you got to do is be a good person. And being a good person and being nice are two totally different things. All right. But always trust your gut. Like, there's something going on. There's something going on behind the scenes that you don't know how but you know. All right. And if you came here looking for some sort of clarification, you are not fucking crazy. You do know. All right. You already know the answer. You don't know how but you know that you know. So follow that. All right. And pressure. Be aware of how family influences and social pressures are influencing your career choices. All right, nobody's got to live your life. Ain't nobody paying your bills for you. Ain't nobody got to live in your head of, should I have done this? Should I have not have done this? Like, oh man, we get so much outside pressure. They're like, especially like parents or um, loved ones, they have this idea of who they want you to be, and then we have the pressure of living up to their standards of what they want for our life. And it's like, that's not what you were here to do. Sure, they might have wanted you to be the doctor, the lawyer, the this or the that, but it's like, that's not at all what you want to be doing. So don't let somebody else pressure you into living the life that they want for you. All right. Make sure that you are examining and living to your full potential, not what somebody else wants you to do with what it is. Like, you ain't living your life for nobody else. There are people that are vicariously live their life through you. They forget that you have your own path, your own struggles, your own destiny that you got to fulfill. Like, you're here for your own spiritual growth, not theirs. They can't fix their mistakes in their life through you. All right. A lot of people be trying to fix their mistakes. Oh, well, I didn't graduate college, so that means you have to. It's like, but do you really have to? You know what I mean? Do you really have to? Some of the most wealthiest people in the world didn't graduate college, but they still followed through on their destiny, you know? So you might have some sort of outside influence that is pressuring you to become something that you don't feel like you're supposed to be, pressuring to do something that you don't feel like you should be doing. All right. All my records are falling over. You live your life for you. Especially if it's somebody that's already like, they already done lived their life. Don't make somebody pressure you into making decisions based off of what their opinion is. Like, oh, I'm cold. I'm so cold. You should put on a jacket. It's like, well, if I was cold, then I would put on a fucking jacket. Just because you're cold doesn't mean that I'm cold. Don't let nobody pressure you into wearing a jacket because they're fucking cold. Don't let nobody pressure you into a job because that's what they would do or that's what they think is the best for you. All right. You live your life. You do you. All right. Don't let nobody try to tell you what lesson it is that you're learning. All right. You trust your own intuition. You follow your own path. You got your own destiny to fulfill. Don't let them pressure you. All right. All right, Virgo, this was your reading for May 5th through the 11th. I love you guys so much. And until next time, be good to yourself and others, always and always. Boom, beep, beep. Libra. Hello, Team Libra. Welcome here. Welcome back. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, whatever part of the world you're on, whatever time you're watching this video. This is your weekly check-in for May 5th through the 11th. I know I usually do my individual weeklies, but I ran into some technical difficulties and learned a very valuable lesson. So we are going to do it this way, okay? And then we will be back on our regularly scheduled program by next week with your individuals. All right, so Libra, what do we have for the week of May 5th through the 11th? Oh, we are all mad here. Everyone is a little different. So, this is a card about embracing your uniqueness. All right, embracing your uniqueness, and it's also a card about not pleasing everyone. All right, you are not going to make everyone 100% happy all the time. Not everyone is going to like you, and that is okay. You don't want everyone to like you anyways, because if everyone likes you, that means you're a freaking chameleon. All right, that means that you are changing your values to fit other people, like for what other people like. All right, so don't change yourself just to try to fit in. Okay, don't change yourself just so you'll be loved. Don't change yourself so that you can get into this or to get into that, unless it's a change that you really truly want to make for yourself. Like, honor yourself. All right, so everyone is a little different, and I know, like, sometimes, like, I know me personally, like, I'll get down on myself because I've gained a lot of weight while being sober. Like, I switched to sober and I've been growing sideways, right? And I'm like, get real down on myself. But then I look around and I see other beautiful women that are bigger women. I'm like, wow, she's really beautiful. And it's like, we don't see ourselves when, we light up about something that we really love, or, the way that we smile in the sunshine when we stop and just for a minute to smell the roses. It's like, we don't get to see ourselves in these moments that are absolutely beautiful. Like, we have a hard time. Sometimes we have a hard time accepting compliments. We'll try to rebuttal them or whatnot. So don't try to rebuttal any compliments. Make sure that you are accepting, or at least learning to accept that you're beautiful just the way that you are. Okay. You're not supposed to fit in with everybody. Not everybody is going to like you, and that is okay. All right. Everyone is a little different. We're all supposed to be a little bit different. Your uniqueness is what makes you you. Like, there are attributes and characteristics of you that, somebody that's watching you finds absolutely beautiful, or passionate or charming or whatever it is you got going on. All right. Like, you only get to see yourself in selfies sometimes, or pictures that other people take of you sometimes. You don't get to watch yourself, like how your face lights up about how you're talking about something that you were absolutely in love with, or you don't get to see yourself dancing around in the kitchen, singing at the top of your lungs, like out of key. You don't get to see yourself when you're covered in dirt, planting in your garden, and just the smile you have on your face. Like, you don't get to see yourself, like, in these everyday aspects of you that makes you you. All right. And you are exactly, you're wonderful exactly the way that you are. All right. You don't need to fit into anybody else's box. All right. You don't need to fit into anybody else's box, because your uniqueness is what makes you you. And if you're trying to fit in with everybody else, then that's taking a part of you away. So stand up for yourself, be authentic to yourself, be true to yourself. All right. And be mindful. Like, that's how I ended up doing drugs. Okay. Like, I got into a relationship with a boy that was doing drugs, and I wanted him to love me. So what did I do? I started doing drugs too, because I figured that if I did drugs with him, then he would love me. All right. I mean, and I learned a whole lot. I'm 4 years sober. Like, hi, my name's Crystal, and I'm a recovered addict. I am 4 years completely raw dog in life. Like, I don't smoke weed. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't drink. I don't do nothing. But I mean, I learned a lot about myself, and I had a lot of spiritual awakening during that time. But the fact of the matter is that I didn't love myself enough to stay true to myself. Like, I wanted this person to love me, so I started doing dumb shit, the things that we do to try to get people to like us is stupid as fuck, man, until we really step into our divinity and own who it is that we truly are, or own who it is that we truly aren't. You know, like if you're hanging out with a group of people and they drink all the time, but you don't drink, don't pretend like you drink just so you can hang out with these people. You know, you being truly authentic to you will bring the people that resonate to you. All right, don't be switching yourself up just because you want to fit in with a certain person or with a certain group of people. Your uniqueness is what makes you you. So be authentic and true to yourself, okay? And the right people will navigate towards you. I know that sounds so cliche, and it's so much simpler than it might really actually be sometimes, but just because it's easy doesn't, or it's simple, but it might not be easy, you know? Because we all have that, like, well, we want to be loved, we want to fit in, we want I don't know, to fit into groups, you know, but then you find out that the people only love you as long as you fit into their box. You know, like, oh, well, I will, it's almost like fitting into a clique. It's like, oh, you're only part of this clique if you wear pink on Tuesdays every Tuesday. If you don't wear pink on Tuesday, then you don't fit with us. You know, so it's like if you change yourself, the people that are gravitating towards you love you conditionally instead of unconditionally. And when you are just truly authentically yourself, the people that gravitate towards you are just going to love you for you being you instead of for who they want you to be. You know, I've put myself in a lot of groups trying to fit in with certain cliques or certain people or whatever, only to find out that they didn't really like that. They only loved me as long as I fit into their box. And as soon as I didn't fit into their box, then they didn't want nothing to do with me. So I stopped putting myself into boxes. I'm not in that box. All right. Don't put yourself into a box. Okay. Says your mindset is fixed. Try to free yourself from that and rise above it. Don't place limitations on what you think you can achieve. Don't stand in your own way. Allow yourself to flourish in all ways. Welcome abundance in all forms into your life. So this might be talking about boxes. All right. You might have yourself in a box. Did you put yourself in a box, Libra? What are you doing here? It says your mindset is fixed. What is it that you are fixated on? What is it that you believe? Do you believe that you can achieve, or do you believe that you can achieve? Don't put the only limitations you have are on yourself. The only people that are stopping you from achieving what it is that you're after is you. Like, you're your own worst enemy. Your number one fan and your biggest fucking critic. All right. And aren't we all? You know, that's very human of us, you know, that we are our number one fan and our biggest critic. We are our own worst enemy and our number one fan. It's like we're sitting there rah 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 shish kumbah, kick him in the butt and snap their bra, and at the same time, like, you can't accomplish that. Like, what are you trying to do over there? You know? So get yourself out of the box. All right, get yourself out of the box, out of the box of limitations, out of the box of specific beliefs, of like, just open your horizons. Get out of your comfort zone. Do something that scares you. If it scares the shit out of you, go and fucking do it. It's like I went and booked myself a cruise because I am scared to death of the ocean. I am terrified. Like, I love the ocean. I respect the ocean. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I love to visit it. But boy, I am terrified of the ocean. So what did I do? I went and booked myself a cruise. So I'm going to be in the middle of a motherfucking middle of the ocean on a boat, terrified, fucking terrified. Oh man, just the idea of it still scares. Like, just talking about it, I'm like, oh god, the ocean, you know. But do something that terrifies you. If it scares the crap out of you, that means that you should absolutely go for it. Do it, because the cool thing about your comfort zone is it'll expand to fit you in it. All right, like, your comfort zone is your best friend and your worst enemy, just like you're your best friend and your worst enemy. Number one hater and biggest fan is yourself, right? So don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. Don't put a cap on your abilities, all right? Because you are more than capable, more than able to achieve so much more than you could even possibly dream. And if you dream really, 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 really super high, then you're gonna, like, you'll make it somewhere, you But if you dream really, 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 really low, then I mean, you'll make it there too. I guess it's all up to you. But learn to accept compliments. Learn to welcome abundance in all forms of your life. If somebody tells you that you're pretty, or that, that they find you attractive, or they're really like they whatever sort of compliment that they give you about your life or about your personality, about yourself, don't try to rebuttal it. All right? Accept it. Say thank you. Okay? Say thank you. Welcome it. Welcome abundance in your life. If somebody's trying to give you a gift, say thank you. Don't tell them, no, 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 no. I can't accept that. I can't accept your love. I can't accept your gift. I can't, like, they're trying to gift you something. And I feel like you're just trying to push it away. So don't be pushing it away, okay? Be accepting. Learn to receive. Readjustments, overcoming obstacles. You got 1616. Overcoming obstacles, soulmates, romance, affection, support, and comfort. Your level of self-control is sufficient to make things right. On the horizon is the possibility of beginning a new romantic or platonic friendship, as well as a chance to begin life anew with a person from one's past. Everything will fall to peace. Everything will fall to pieces, it says, but that doesn't seem like that's right. So your level of self-control is sufficient to make things right. So if you've got some sort of apologizing to do, like you done said some unhinged ass shit or something, like go ahead and own whatever it is that you've done and like readjust, recalculate. There's nothing wrong with taking a step back and be like, whoa, 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 like sorry, my human totally got in the way there, my bad. And then readjust from there. You might be having a reconciliation with somebody from your past. You might be able to make amends with somebody, or there might be somebody that's trying to make an amends with you this week. But if you're going to forgive someone, that means you can never bring it up again. All right. So be mindful of that. If you say, yeah, I forgive you, that doesn't mean that you can fucking throw that shit in their face the next time that you get into an argument. All right. That means that it's a clean slate, that you actually forgive them. All right. And vice versa. Like they can't be throwing it in your face if you did something. All right. And you apologize for, you learn, like an apology is changed behavior. So make sure it ain't just words. People say whatever the hell they want. You like all kinds of words that come out of my mouth. Like, hi, I'm a kitty. I'm a kitty. I am purple. I am 6 foot tall. People could say whatever they want. People say all kinds of things. Same goes for you, Libra. You could say whatever you want. Say all kinds of things, but your actions will definitely speak louder than whatever your words are, and vice versa. So make sure you're paying attention that your actions are actually matching with your words, and that other people's actions are matching with their words as well. Okay? But it does look like if you thought you fucked something up, it doesn't look like you fucked it up. Okay? There is a chance to just make some adjustments, readjust, learn, and move forward. All right? And leader, you are a natural born leader. I don't know why I don't know natural born killers, but as a born leader, you can truly bring out the best in others by guiding them and inspiring them. And that's what true leaders do. True leaders don't just like delegate, they don't just bark orders and tell people what to do. It's like they bring out the best, like they see the best in their team, and then put together their team accordingly. Like they're like, okay, well, you're really good at math, and you're really good at speaking, and you're really good at communicating. You're really good at, like your persona is really good at speaking with people. Like you're really good with the public. You're not so great with the public. It's like bringing out the attributes that are the best in your team, and then like uniting them to work together. A natural born leader isn't somebody that just barks orders. It's somebody that brings out the best in others, knows how to bring out the best in others. So you, like in the realm of your finances, you could be a team lead. You could be really good at resolving conflict, like internal conflict. You could be support tech. There's people that come to you. They look at you. They look to you on how to act. Like you are teaching others how to act by your actions, by what it is that you do. And sometimes taking accountability is also a part of being a leader. Like a true leader doesn't not ever fuck up. and doesn't not own their responsibilities or own up to their own actions. Like a true leader is like, hey, I acted out of pocket. You know what I mean? I acted out of emotions or this or that, you know, and they take accountability for it and learn their lessons, and then other people will follow suit from that. It's like, you are the leader, people are following you. All right, they're following your lead. They're taking what it is that you're doing and applying it to their life as well. So if you want somebody to open up, you got to open up. You want somebody to be truthful about some shit, you got to be truthful about some shit. You want to talk about you want to have hard conversations, then you got to have hard conversations. You want somebody to be accountable, then you take accountability. All right. We lead by example. It's not do as I say, it's do as I do. It's not just, oh, I say so, these are the rules, it's because I say so. It's like, no, this is the way we do it. You show them, you know. You got somebody that's trying to tell you how to dig a shitter, you just hand them a shovel. All right, then show me. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't just gonna sit here and bark orders at me. They're like, show me how it's done. And I think you're showing them how it's done. Like, sometime this week, you're gonna have to show them how it's done. You're gonna have to lead by example. All right. So accept your character flaws, accept that you are uniquely you, and accept compliments, Libra. Okay? Like, don't try to dismiss them. Be grateful, you know, show gratitude and own your shit. All right? Own your shit this week. And be who you want. Be the change you want to see. Be who it is that you got to lead by example. All right? Lead by example. All right, Libra, I love you guys so very much. This is your reading for May 5th through the 11th. Please remember to hit that little like button and subscribe, say hello. And if you would like a personal reading, you can go to my website at crystal-lavender.com, sign up for my newsletter, and get a free download of my book. All right. Love you guys. Boom, beep, beep. Scorpio, hello, welcome here, welcome back. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, whatever part of the world you're on, whatever time you're watching this video. This is your weekly energy check-in for May 5th through the 11th. I know I usually do the individual weeklies, but I ran into some technical difficulties and learned a very valuable lesson. So we're going to do it this way for right now, and I'll be back to my regularly scheduled individuals by next week, okay? I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for being here. So let's see what we got for the week of May 5th through the 11th. It says, never jam today. Promises that never come to be, empty words, not living in the now. So a lot of times, like, man, I don't know how many times that I've had some sort of problem, and like 99.9% of the problems like are in my head. Because when I look around and I actually look at what's really going on in my life, like, there ain't shit, there ain't a motherfucking thing. Like, everything is totally legit. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing really going wrong. You know, they say if you are living in anxiety or fear, that means that you're projecting in the future. And if you are living in regret or remorse, that means that you are living too much in the past. All right. And we live in the past, the present, and the future all simultaneously. We are living in the present moment of our past thoughts while creating our future in the now. That's why the now is the most important. So make sure that you're doing some evaluation. Even if you have like a shitty moment in a day, that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to have a shitty day. All right. So don't let a shitty moment turn into a whole entire shitty day, turn into a whole entire shitty week, turn into a whole entire shitty month. All right. Never jam today, it says. So, and be mindful of what it is that you are, you know, if you're making promises or if somebody is promising you something, because it says empty words. All right. Not living in the now, an empty word, promises that never come to be. But I feel like these are promises that are to yourself. These are things that you want to do for yourself that you're not fulfilling. You know, like, I don't know if you're making excuses or like you're today's getting all jammed up with some sort of mind fog. You know, you got traffic, you got mind traffic. All right. Like, I don't know. It's like I almost guarantee you, like, sure, there might be some real legit things going on in your life, but I bet anything, the majority of the issues that you got going on are all either projections or they're past experiences that you're reliving. All right. Like, we need to let our body know that it is safe, that we are safe, that we're not in those moments, especially if we're living in like a past trauma. You know, like, our body will relive that moment again and again and have the exact same reaction to it over and over again, even though we are not in that space anymore. So we got to remind ourselves that, like, take a real good look around, be mindful of what is actually happening, and don't be projecting so much into the future, and don't be living so much in the past. Okay. All we have is the now, and the now is the most important. So, I mean, don't let one bad circumstance make you have a bad day. I don't know how many times, like, I've had conversations in my head, like, after, say somebody, like a rude customer comes in or whatever and says some shit to me, and then I'll go over it in my head over and over. Well, I should have said this. And I'll, like, replay the conversation 700 million times in my head. Right. And it's like that conversation happened hours ago and ain't even a part of my existence no more, but I'm still letting it eat my lunch. So don't let an experience eat your fucking lunch all day. All right. Make sure that you're letting things go and you're not reliving any sort of traumas, like, throughout the day. Okay. And we got, those difficult times will pass. Nothing bad lasts forever. The sun will shine again, the birds will sing, and the clouds will clear. And you will be glad you kept moving forward. You will soon be rewarded for your patience. Hold on. You are far stronger than you think. My favorite thing about cards like this, or about talking about things like this, is like, nothing lasts forever, right? So can you remember a time where it wasn't so bad? Can you, like, think of a time that you were the happiest that you've ever been? If you can think of a time that you were the happiest that you ever been, then that proves right there that this moment, whatever's going on in this moment, whatever's making you feel, whatever's eating your lunch, is not going to last forever. That is proof that it is not always going to be this way. So make sure you're not making any sort of permanent decisions off of temporary feelings. Okay. Sometimes we be acting out of pocket, having some sort of emotional response to a situation that, could have permanent damage on something, permanent damage on a relationship, permanent damage on, like, a viewpoint of something. So make sure, especially if you feel a little bit unhinged, excuse me, that you aren't putting some sort of permanent dent in a relationship, or in a situation that you're in for a temporary feeling. Okay. Because feelings are fleeting. They come and go, come and go, come and go. All right. However you're feeling right now in this moment, or whatever this situation is that you're going through right now, isn't going to be that way forever. Was it that way? Like, there are times that I've been so mad at something, right? Especially, like, raising my kid. There were times that like, he remembers me being mad, right? He remembers me coming into his room and yelling and whatever and being fucking mad. And you know what? I don't even remember what I was mad about. That's what's fucked up. It's like, he's got this core memory of me being mad, being super pissed off. I don't even remember what I was mad about. And he doesn't remember what I was mad about, but he remembers me being mad. All right. So make sure that you're not having some sort of permanent memory for a temporary feeling or a temporary situation, because sometimes that shit lasts longer than we would want, for sure. Right. So if you're feeling a little bit heated, or you're emotional, or whatever you got going on, like, take a moment to sit back. All right. Think about it. Give yourself a day or two to think about it. Don't have any sort of emotional reactions to a situation, because usually when we react emotionally, we end up regretting that shit. So try to think things out logically. All right. Take a moment to breathe, because whatever it is that's going on right now, you probably ain't even going to remember it in 3 years from now, or even a year from now. So remember a time that it wasn't like this. Go back into your memory bank and bust open a cold one of a time that it wasn't like this. All right. And take a sip of that. Take a sip of that memory and breathe, and just know that it ain't always going to be this way. Okay. You got 1331, good fortune. Advice, comfort, major change, individuality, and independence. Have faith in your skills and talents, as they are a tool that can provide you with a bright future. A piece of good advice, a moment of enlightenment, or a comforting message is on its way. Everything will work out in your favor. I mean, maybe this could be the message that you needed to hear today. Maybe you're gonna be talking to universe or God, and, like, the radio station is gonna answer you. Those type of synchronicities happen and make us feel like we're fucking crazy, but it's real. That shit's real. And what's cool about synchronicities is that they're specific to us. They're only for us. They're only for us to understand. Like how cool is that we are so special, that we are so important and so special, that our synchronicities are specifically tailored only for us to understand. Because if we try to explain them to somebody else about how we were having this conversation with God, and then all of a sudden the TV answered us, it's like we're gonna look like we're batshit crazy, but it ain't for anybody else to understand. It's only for you to understand. So you're gonna receive some sort of synchronicity or some sort of message. Like there's going to be a message in the bottle, not at the bottom of the bottle. All right. You ain't going to find the message at the bottom of the bottle, but there's going to be a message that is specifically tailored for you to understand. And it could be this one, who knows, or you could get something like from a child or something, just walks up to you and says some profound shit that you didn't even know you needed to hear today. Or it could come off the radio. You be talking to God, and God talks back to you through the radio or through the TV or something. You're not crazy. All right. You're not crazy. It says schedule. It says most forms of prosperity require time and effort to manifest. Do you have room in your schedule for the abundance you are wanting to attract? So there might be something that you need to evaluate how you manage your time management. Like, are you spending 5 hours out of a day scrolling in reels on TikTok? Like what could you be doing with that time? Because money comes and goes, and your time you are never going to get back. So make sure that you are investing. Like, I mean, it's cool to Netflix and chill every once in a while, but you don't want your blanket fort to turn into a symbiont being. Okay. So whatever it is that you're scheduling, make sure you schedule some time to do some things that you actually need to get done. Because I feel like you're burning away, like time's just burning away, and you're like, wait a second, where did all day went to me doing this? You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? What did I do with myself? I didn't get shit done. And that's all right in moderation, but you don't want that to be like that all the time. Okay. Make sure that you are wise with the time that you have, because money comes and goes, your time you never get back. All right. I love you guys so much. This is your reading for May 5th through the 11th. I will see you guys soon. Okay. And until then, be good to yourself and others always and always. Boom. Beep, beep. Love you, Scorpio. Sagittarius. Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome here. Welcome back. This is your reading for May 5th through the 11th. I know I usually do the individual readings, but I ran into some technical difficulties and learned a very valuable lesson. So we're going to do it this way for this week, okay? So thank you guys for your patience and for being here. Please remember to hit that little like button and say hello. I love you guys so very much. So let's see what we got for Sagittarius for the week of May 5th through the 11th. All must have prizes, trying to please everyone. Okay, that is absolutely fucking impossible. All right, no matter what, no matter how hard you try, no matter how good you are, no matter how you try to go with the flow and shift and just, you can't please everyone. It's impossible. And if you are pleasing everyone, that means that you're being a super chameleon and not being true to yourself. All right. It is absolutely impossible to please everyone. So there are some people that are just going to have to suck it up. Like, so what? You don't like what I'm doing? Oh, well, suck it up, buttercup. This is what I'm fucking doing. Like, you ain't got to live my life. You don't have to live my consequences. Like, I am the only one that is paying my bills. Like, I'm doing what's best for me. I'm following my own true north. I'm doing what I need to do for me and for mine. All right. And if some people don't like it, well, tough titties, Oh, well, you're either on my side or you're in my fucking way. All right. And there are people that are going to judge you no matter what it is. You could be the most perfect fucking person. Like, I mean, hell, you could be like, even Jesus himself was crucified. You know what I mean? You can't please everyone. It's absolutely impossible. There are going to be people that are going to hate on you just because you being you. And you know what? That is not a you problem. That is a them problem. Like Cat Williams says, is like, you wake up with one hater, you need to go to bed with 3 of them motherfuckers. That's how you know you're doing something right. That's how you know that you are living authentically true to yourself, because you're not going to be able to please everyone. And everyone is all like, there are people out there, like every single person that you run into has a different perception of you. Like your parents see you in a different light than your kids see you. Your best friend sees you in a different light than the cashier at the gas station. Like everybody is going to see you differently, and not everybody is going to get you. They're not going to understand your motives. They're not going to understand what it is that you're doing. And you know what? That's fine. You can't please everyone. There are some people that are going to be unhappy with what it is that you're doing. All right. And that is not a you problem. That is a them problem. Because it's impossible. Because if you are pleasing, if everybody fucking likes you, that means that you're a chameleon. That means you're lying to yourself or to someone else. All right. And you got to be true to you. Because you're the only one at the end of the night. You're the only one that has to live with your choices. I mean, I'm sure there's ripples to your choices or whatever. There's consequences. Everybody's free to choose. Ain't none of us free of the consequences. But still, you're the only one that's got to live with that shit. It says, we see that you are on the brink of a breakthrough that you have been patiently waiting for. The situation is about to come full circle. The lessons have been learned. This is a win-win situation for you. Trust that we are working behind the scenes to ensure the best outcome for you. A lot of times we think that it's cycles. We think that we go in these loops, and it's not a cycle. It's a spiral. You're spiraling around a situation. Like you'll have a chance to repeat it, because the only mistakes you make in life are the ones you don't learn from, right? If you honestly don't know that something's wrong, or that you shouldn't do something, or that you shouldn't have acted a certain way, or you shouldn't have said a certain thing, or whatever, once you've taken accountability and like actually have truly made changes inside yourself, you'll get a chance to repeat that thing, because a mistake is a mistake. If you truly honestly don't know that something's wrong, then you're going to learn from it. You'll get an opportunity to prove whatever it is that you've learned, and that's that spiral. It'll come around. It looks like it's a circle, but it's not a circle. It's a spiral. You'll come back around, and you'll get to do the situation again, right? Now, if you know that what you're doing is wrong, then the universe is going to fucking hand you your ass. And it's going to be harder and harder each and every time. So that's why we just shouldn't do some shit that we know is fucking wrong. If like we already learned the lesson, you know what I mean? Like we know that it's wrong, then we shouldn't do it. It seems so simple, right? Like if everybody just didn't do, like if everybody in the world was like stopped doing some shit that they knew was fucking wrong, the whole world would be a completely different place. But yeah, it's not your job to teach other people to be a good people. It's only your job to be a good people. So don't worry about what other people are doing. You be true to you. So you're on the brink of a breakthrough. And sometimes we get tested the most when we are about to level up, right? It's just like going to school. We're in the school of hard knocks. We're in this school, this universe school, this earth game, this earth school, learning our lessons, evaluating, learning, growing, expanding our consciousness, like becoming the best versions of ourselves. And sometimes it's taken me 40 years to learn as much as I've learned, and I still ain't done learning. The more I learn, the more I know. All I know is nothing. All I know is don't know nothing. All I know is I don't know, right? But what you do know, you're true to. So it feels like you're about to get tested. There might be a situation that you are going to be in repeat of, to see if you learn your lesson, to see if you figured it out. I mean, because whenever we pass different grades or we pass different levels, like even on video games, you got to beat the boss in order to pass the level, right? Gotta escape the maze, or beat the race, or beat the boss, or whatever. Like there's some sort of test at the end of each level. And I feel like you're about ready to level up. So if don't be doing something that you shouldn't be doing, all right? Especially if you've already had this lesson before. And sometimes it's easy. It's like, oh, that's easy. That's cakewalk. Like I ain't repeating that shit. It's like why are you even testing me, universe? Like I done learned that lesson. All right. But there's sometimes I might be a little bit sneaky. They might bring somebody from your past, or somebody that represents somebody from your past. You might, fall into the same type of situationship or something. Don't be doing that. All right. Ooh, 66. Great blessings. Talk about level up, self-love, boundaries, needs, good vibes, wisdom, understanding, and letting go. Nurture yourself, your needs, desires, and boundaries. Let go of things that are weighing you down. Make space for something meaningful and expand your spirit to all areas of your life. That big love, opportunity, or job needs to squeeze in somewhere, right? Sometimes the old's got to die in order for the new to be born. It's seasons of life, like every single year the flowers die off. The flowers die off, and then it puts all the energy into the roots, so that way the next spring that comes around, like all that energy that's been put into the roots can be put back into the flower to build to produce fruit, right? So we're constantly in this death and rebirth process. But there's some things that if we don't let go of it, if we don't let go of that person, we don't let go of that idea, we don't let go of what we thought we were supposed to get instead of what it is that we're actually getting, like we might push out this divine blessing that we're getting. But you got big blessings. Like, you're on the brink of a breakthrough and great blessings. So something big is about to happen for you, Sagittarius. There is a huge upgrade, either in love or just in opportunities in your career or just in life in general. Moving on up, moving on up. And I think your fruits are going to speak for themselves. Like, you ain't got to prove shit to nobody. Like, your fruit will speak for itself. Like, your what it is that you got will show what it is that you learned. You know what I mean? Like, your fruits will bear all the testimony you need to tell. Like, you don't have to explain yourself to nobody. You ain't got to look what I did. Look how I overcame. Is like, nah, like, your fruit will be your testimony. And vision. Do you know exactly what it is that you want? Do you know exactly what you want? And are you acting consistently towards achieving it? Maintain a clear vision of what you are calling forth, and you will be unstoppable. Sagittarius, you got some big shit popping off. Like, you're about to get a huge breakthrough, something that you've absolutely been manifesting. When they talk about manifestation, I think I was talking to Virgo about this earlier. But manifestation, right? Like, we got to be ready to be ready to be ready. Like, the universe ain't just going to hand us some shit. Like, we go fishing, like, the fish ain't just going to jump in our net. It's like, we got to bring the bait. We got to bring the pole. We're not sitting there chasing down the fish. The fish come to us, but we got to come to the lake prepared to catch a fish. So I think that you've been preparing yourself to catch whatever this great opportunity is. So that way, when it presents itself to you, you're going to know, because you've been ready to be ready to be ready. You've been manifesting, you've been overcoming, you have been, being true to yourself and learning your lessons, letting go of what you need to let go of. So that way, when the fish does bite that hook, you're ready to catch that mofo. You're ready to catch your blessings. All right. You're ready to be ready to be ready. Like, and you know exactly what it is that you want. Like, you are consistently working towards it. It's just like an NFL player. Like, the NFL player, like, spends all high school training to be an NFL player. They don't call the NFL and be like, hey, you should come to my practice. No, the talent scout comes to them, but they still put in the work to be ready for that talent scout to show up. And I feel like that's what you've been doing. You've been putting in the work. You're ready to be ready to be ready. And you are on the brink of a huge level up. Like, you leveling up, Sagittarius. You're about to beat that boss. Level up. So that's what's up. All right, Sagittarius, this is your reading for May 5th through the 11th. That's fucking bomb diggity. Okay. I love you guys so much, and I will see you soon. All right. And until then, be good to yourself and others, always and always. Boom. Beep, beep. Capricorn, hello, hello. Welcome here, welcome back. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, whatever part of the world you're on, whatever time you're watching this video. I know I usually do the individual weeklies, but I ran into some technical difficulties and learned a very valuable lesson. So this week we are going to do it this way, and we'll be back to our regularly scheduled program by next week of the individual weeklies. So thank you guys so much for being here. This is your reading for May 5th through the 11th. All right. We're going to do your energy check and see what's good for the week. All right, Capricorn. So what do we got? We got no need to fear. Remember how powerful you are. Dude, I think it's cool, like, how many people are actually into manifestation and, like, how powerful their souls really are. Like, people are really truly awakening to their divine power, to how just amazingly powerful the mind is. And you are no exclusion to that, Capricorn. Like, you might be delving into the whole manifestation thing, or you've been playing with energy or something, but there's something that you're tapping into something big that you maybe weren't quite aware of before. But your ability to heal or transform or manifest, it might be blowing other people's minds, not just yours. And I think it's cool, like, like the generations from now, like our kids as kids, like the idea of being a powerful, conscious, creative being is going to be everyday knowledge. It's not going to be something that they're learning about. It's just going to be something that they intuitively already know, that they don't question. So I think that you are really discovering that you are a powerful conscious creator. Most of us are powerful conscious creators, but we're constantly creating unconsciously. And I think you flip that switch. Like you flip that switch from being an unconscious creator to being a complete conscious creator. Like you are very determined about, like you're very intentional about what it is that you're creating. It's not like you're not just all lollygagging through life, like trying to figure it out. Like you are intentionally creating specific situations and outcomes, kind of playing with the energy and seeing what happens. I think you're kind of surprising yourself, or you might be surprising other people. I know when I first tapped into my spiritual awakening, like God, universe, whatever you want to call it, talked to me so much that the people around me believed in God because of the situations that they saw through me. They seen so many of my receipts that they had to believe for themselves. So I know sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming, but it's also super magical. Like it's so magical when you realize that, like, that the universe talks to you, and the more that you hear it, the more it talks, the more that you can hear. It's like the more that you pay attention to what it is that the universe is saying in the ways that it says it to you, the more it speaks to you. And it's fucking beautiful, man. It's beautiful when that happens. I love it. This says, look past what you feel are your incapabilities. Instead, focus on everything you have achieved so far. It's okay to acknowledge your weaknesses, but keep in mind that they don't define you. Your strength and your beautiful soul are clear for all of those to see. So I really think that whatever's going on around, like, with you is affecting those around you as well. Like there's something that is going on inside your soul. Like you're opening up to such creative potential that like it's obvious. Like it's like the people that are paying attention to you are like wow, this stuff is really true. Like I really just watched you manifest that. I really just watched, you turn like a thought from thin air into actual reality. So the things that you've been down on yourself about in the past, like, don't define you. Your past does not define you. Okay, it was just part of the adventure of you finding out who you truly were. The only mistakes we make in life are the ones we don't learn from them. And I think you've truly learned a lot from whatever mistakes it was that you've made in your life. So don't let your past define you. You are not your past. You are not the mistakes that you've made. You are not your job. You are not your income. You are not your hair. You are not you're not your clothes. You are not the car you drive. You are not the house that you live in. All right. You are so much bigger than any of that. And I believe that you're tapping into your ability to create consciously. Before, I think you were creating unconsciously. You were just kind of winging it. And now I believe that you are being extremely intentional. You're intentional about your creations, and it's out for all to see. Like other people are seeing that it's real through you. Okay. And we got 33, social skills, hope, optimism, liberation, success, prosperity, excitement, and enthusiasm. The problems you have today will eventually disappear. Your guardian angels encourage you to maintain a positive outlook on life, since your luck may be about to change. It's time to put your captivating energy and inspirational personality. Don't let your ego get the best of you. Right? Sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes, like, our cockiness gets in the way. Like, I don't know how many times, like, my intuition has been on point, and then my ego comes in and takes over, and I start getting cocky about shit, and then it all fucks up. Then I'm humbled real quickly. So don't get too cocky about your abilities. Remember to stay humble. Like, humble but confident without being cocky. It's like a weird fine line to walk on. But just know that whatever's going on today is not going to be there. Like, you aren't even going to remember most of the struggles that you're having, most of the bad days that you're having. Like, in 3 years from now, you're not even going to remember what it was. So don't let something that you're not even going to remember in 5 months from now like take away the joy of today. All right. Cause I mean, shit's fucking inevitable. Shit happens all the time on a regular basis, but how we handle it is what makes or breaks a situation. All right. So our emotional reaction to whatever sort of shit show is going on in our life right now is what will make the situation worse or make it completely like, like it ain't no thing. So, just know that the problems you have today are going to disappear. You ain't even going to remember, right? So if you're not going to remember on your deathbed, then don't let it consume, don't let it eat your lunch. All right. Don't let it eat your lunch for today and for tomorrow for some shit that you either is out of your control or isn't even real. Most of the problems we have ain't even real. They're just all in our head, right? So examine, like do your intake, take a look at your energy and evaluate if whatever it is that you're worried about is really something that you need to be worried about. And if it is something that you need to be worried about, then what can you do about it? Is there anything that you could do about it? If you can, then do something about it. If you can't, then there's no point in worrying, because worrying can do you no good whatsoever. None whatsoever. I know it's a lot easier said than done, but if you could do a check-in with yourself, it's like, I don't know. I've had some situations in my life where like on the outside, people are like, how are you not freaking the fuck out? I was like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. You know what I mean? There ain't nothing I can do about it in this moment. So it is what it is. It's going to be what it will be. There's nothing that I can do to change the outcome of the situation, then there's no point in freaking out. What is freaking out going to do? Ain't going to do nothing. So, be calm in the middle of a storm. All right. Your calmness is going to make or break the situation. How you respond to it is going to make it worse or bearable. Career change. Does your career fully align with who you are physically, emotionally, and spiritually? And sometimes that's scary. Like when I decided to quit my job, I quit at Loaf and Jug, put in my 2 weeks notice. That was scary as fuck, man. I didn't know how I was going to survive. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew that it was a soul sucking job and I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand being there. And it was just, I was stuck in this rut, and it's really, really, really scary to step out into the unknown, to have that actual trust and faith that everything will be all right. You don't know how it's going to be all right, but you just know it's going to be all right. So I think right now, like, you're stepping out into the unknown, and it's really, really scary. It could be really, 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 really scary. All right. Because you don't know what's going to happen, but you know that it's going to be all right. You don't know how it's going to be all right. You can't even explain to people how you know it's going to be all right. You just know that it's going to be all right. Like if you're wondering if you should switch up your careers, or if like if you'll be all right if you do that, though, I mean, try it, see what happens. See what happens. You might be pleasantly surprised, because everything you need and then some is always provided, always and always. And it's scary to take that leap of faith, man. Because not only are you taking a leap of faith on yourself, but you're taking a leap of faith with God, with universe. It's a scary leap. But don't take that leap of doubt. All right. Just know that everything you need and then some will always has been and always will be provided for you. All right, Capricorn. All right, guys. I love you guys so very much. This is your weekly check-in for May 5th through the 11th. And I will see you next time. And until then, be good to yourself and others, always and always. Vroom, beep, beep. Aquarius. Hello, Aquarius. This is your reading for May 5th through the 11th. I know I usually do the individual weeklies, but I ran into technical difficulties and learned a very valuable lesson. So we are going to do this week's like this, and then we'll be back on our regularly scheduled program by next week, okay? I love you guys so very much. Thank you so much for being here. So let's see what we got for Team Aquarius for May 5th through the 11th. We got changed in the night. You have changed quickly. Either you have changed quickly, or your situation has changed quickly, or someone around you might have changed. They might have changed their mind, or maybe you changed your mind. something that you just woke up and felt differently about. Like, maybe you were super stressed about something, or you were super laser focused on something, and you woke up like, not like, you're like, no, you know what? I don't even care no more. Something happened, either like you figured it out in your sleep. You did that 5D shit where you figured it out in your sleep. You did a lot of 5D work, or I don't know, you just changed your mind, which you're a fixed sign, so that doesn't happen very often. So you either changed your mind or you made up your mind about something, but something changed in the night. All right. You have changed quickly, or someone else around you has changed quickly, or you, like, I don't know if you got kids or not, but you could see a change in your kid. Like, maybe it's like one day you just wake up and you're like, when did you turn into a teenager? It's like you went from this kid to the teenager, or you went from a teenager to a grown ass man or a grown ass woman. It's like, when did that happen? It's like, there's definitely something that was spontaneous. It's like spontaneous switch flipped, floop, switch, go the other direction. Let's see if any of these other cards can. It's time to stop letting worry rule you. Instead, get excited about your future and all it will bring. What energy and emotion you put on comes back to you. With a little conscious effort on your part, that happy ending can and will be yours. Believe that. Worrying is so pointless. Worrying does absolutely nothing. I mean, what does worrying do for any sort of situation? Like, if we're worried about something, either A, we can change it, there's something we could do about it, or not, but worrying is not going to help anything. I know that it is, like, sometimes it's completely hard to not worry about a situation or an outcome or a specific person or whatnot, but man, I don't know who invented worrying, but it seems kind of pointless. It's like, there's no point in worrying. Like, what is it going to do? How's it going to help? It doesn't help nothing. It just makes us feel like shit. So, I think you are shifting your perspective, like, you're taking a good look around and you're like, wait a second. Like, I ain't got shit to worry about anyways. It's like, all of the things, like, I got 99 problems and most of them are in my fucking head, or they're either perceived problems. Like, if we're living in the future, it's like we're anxious and full of anxiety, and if we're living in the past, then we're living in remorse or guilt. But, living in the now, right now, in this moment, like, what do you really got going on? You know what I mean? Like, when I look around right now, like, if I find myself being super anxious or paranoid or worried or, feeling bad or whatever, like, I stop and take a deep breath and look around my life right now. Like, what is really truly going on right now in this moment? And then I realize that most of the shit that I'm worried about or that I'm overthinking or whatever is all in my freaking head. It's amazing how powerful our minds are, man. Our minds are so powerful that we relive situations and we really truly, like, our body responds like if we're actually in that situation. You get into an argument with the person that cut you off in line or whatever, in your head, like, you didn't even say nothing to that person, but you'd be arguing with them in your head and your body really feels like you are actually in that confrontation. So take an evaluation of your actual circumstances, not just the ones that are in your head. Okay. And shift your perception according to what's really truly going on, not what it is that we're worried about, or what it is that we're, what it is that we got going on in our mind, the play we got going on in our mind. Like, shift your focus to what's really going on, and take evaluation of that, because that happy ending can and will be yours, right? 2424, good times, leisure, rest, holiday, pleasure, love, affection, kindness, happiness. You are worthy of affection, leisure, and pleasure. If you tell your family and friends how you feel, you'll find that you are all on the same page and can work together effectively. Many people are rooting for you. If you spread love, it will find its way back to you, multiplied. A lot of times we write these unwritten contracts with people, like, we'll help people out, in some sort of unwritten contract, expecting them to help us when we need it. And it never, ever, it hardly, I can't say never, ever, but it hardly ever works that way. Like, when we help somebody else out, it's not usually those people that we help out that end up helping us. But it does come back around in unexpected ways from unexpected people, right? It might not be exactly who it is that we were hoping it would be or that we were expecting it would be. But if we release all expectations, it's like, don't be writing one-sided contracts with people. Like if you're going to do something for somebody, make sure that you're doing something for somebody because that's what you want to do, not because you expect them to do something for you. And if there's somebody out there that you got feelings for and you're waiting for them to come forward, like you might need to be the one that takes that leap. All right. Go ahead and express how you feel. You might be pleasantly surprised. Maybe they feel the exact same way, but either way, if you express it, at least it's on the table. What they do from there is up to them. But just holding on to it, I don't know if like you guys might be mirroring each other. I haven't you're the only one that I've felt like there's like some sort of love message in this situation. So if there's something that you need to say to somebody, say it. Because you never know, man. You never know. And if you get it off the table and they aren't into it, they don't reciprocate, then at least it's off the table, that you can move on. You don't have to hold yourself up on that situation no more. You can move on from that. But if nobody says nothing, then nobody knows, right? Most of the time, it's the things that we don't take a chance on, the things that we don't say, we end up regretting. Like, will you regret not speaking out? Like, if you're on your deathbed and you're thinking back about your life and you're like, man, what if I woulda? What if I woulda? So, what if you woulda? Go ahead and say whatever it is that you need to say. All right? Because you don't want to be thinking back like, man, I wish I would have said something. Like, what would have happened if I would have said something? Or what would have happened if I would have taken that leap forward? Take that leap. Because I think you're going to be you're going to be pleasantly surprised. You guys are all on the same page. Like you're going to be pleasantly surprised, it says. But I think you might need to take that leap of faith and say it yourself. Competition. Remember, there is no competition if you are truly original. Even if somebody is doing the exact same thing that you're doing, they're not doing it in the exact same way that you're doing it. They ain't got your same personality. They don't have your same story, the same background. They don't see things the same way that you see things. Like you can do something just because it's working for somebody else doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to work for you and vice versa. There is no competition when you're truly around people that want to see you win. Even if somebody's doing the exact same thing, it's like people should be rooting for you. If they're not rooting for you, if they're not on your team, then they're in your fucking way, right? And even then, people being in your way is still kind of being on your team, in some way or another. So there is no such thing as competition. Like you are not in competition with anybody else. You're only in competition with yourself. You only gotta outdo you, nobody else. All right. It's none of your business what other people are doing. Like you could take notes or something, or they could take notes from you, but we worry about people copying. Oh, they copying me. It's like, that's the biggest form of flattery that there is. Like if you're doing something right, then people should be copying you because that means that you're doing it right. I mean, it's hard. It's really rare to have original ideas. All of our ideas, all of our whatever comes from something, from somebody else doing something. It's very rare for us to have like our own original, never thought of before ever in the history of ever, never. Like, yeah, that's pretty fucking impossible at this day and age. All right. So we all get our ideas from somebody else, from some other idea, that sparks this creative spark inside of us. And ain't nothing wrong with that. So if you find somebody that is doing things exactly like you're doing, just smile at them, smile and nod like, yep, that's right. That means I'm doing something right. If they're copying you, that means you're doing it right. Because if you're doing it right, then you would want other people to be doing it right too. So that is the highest form of compliment, is somebody copying whatever it is that you're doing. That means you're doing something right. That doesn't mean that they're in competition. You ain't in competition. There's one thing about tattoo artists and stuff like that. It's like nobody wants an apprentice because they feel like they're just training their competition. And it's like, it ain't got to be like that. You ain't training your competition. This person is going to do things. Sure, they're going to do things a lot like you do, but they're going to have their own style. They're going to have their own clientele. They're going to have their own like unique thing that they're doing. Even if they're doing the same thing you're doing, they're still going to do it their own way. Right. And there's room for everything for everyone. There's so much abundance out there. Like, ain't nobody got to be stingy with that shit. Ain't nobody in competition with no one. And if your friends aren't rooting for you, then they ain't your friends. All right. All All right, guys, I love you guys so very much. And this is your reading for May 5th through the 11th. Please remember to hit that little like button on your way out. And until next time, be good to yourself and others, always and always. Vroom, beep, beep. Pisces, hello, hello. Hi, Pisces. Welcome here. Welcome back. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, whatever part of the world you're on, whatever time you're watching this video. I know I usually do the individual weeklies, but I ran into some technical difficulties and learned a very valuable lesson. So we are doing it like this for this week. I will be back on my regularly scheduled program by next week. So thank you guys so much for being here. I love you guys so very much. So this will be your reading for May 5th through the 11th. All right. Your energetic check-in. Let's see what we got for Pisces. Pisces, you can't go back to yesterday. Be in the present. This has been a common theme throughout this reading for this week for several different signs, but you can't go back and change nothing, right? All you can do is move forward into the future. You know, like we live in the past, the present, and the future all simultaneously. Like we live in the present moment of our past thoughts while we're creating our future in the present moment of our present thoughts, right? So that's why the present is the most important, because we live in the past, the present, and the future simultaneously. It's like we are living in the now of our past thoughts that created our future while we're now creating our future in the present moment. So be mindful of what it is that you're thinking or what it is that you're doing in the now. But they say that if you're living in regret, that means you're living in the past. If you're living in shame, that means you're living in the past. If you have some sort of regret or shame or, any of those emotions of that sort, that means you're living in the past. If you have anxiety, if you're super anxious, you have anxiety, or you're really fearful, that means you're living in the future. All right. So try to be more present in the now. Like we can't go back and erase anything that's happened from the past. All we could do is move forward. All right. Whatever's done is done. Whatever's said is said. Whatever it is, it is. You know what I mean? So sometimes we just got to push forward. Like, all right, smile and nod and push forward. So we can't go back and change anything from the past, but we can be more present in the now. And we've got, your life is about to start moving quickly in some areas. Events that seem to have been on hold suddenly propel forward. Move with the flow and be mindful of what needs your attention most. Make decisions rationally, but sensibly. So try not to make any sort of don't have emotional reactions. I noticed that sometimes when we have emotional reactions, those are the ones that we end up regretting, right? When we act or react out of emotion rather than logic. Sometimes we got to take a step back, take a step back and breathe, okay? Because things are about to start moving really, really fast. Says start moving quickly in some areas of your life. So some things that you thought have been on hold are about to pick up, and the things that have been super, super fast are about to be put on hold. All right, like there's going to be some switches and some energy there. So make sure that you are ready to go with the flow, ready to be ready. Okay. And I think you are, like, you're ready for this. I think you're ready for this movement here, whatever this movement in whatever area of your life that it's moving in, like you're ready for it. Like it's been on hold. You kind of feel like it's been building momentum, you know, you've been waiting. It's like hold, just hold, waiting for it to spring off, waiting for it to take movement, for it to push forward. It's almost like a crossbow. You pull the bow back, you know what I mean? It's got all that tension, and you're just waiting, you're waiting to fucking let that bow fly. So it feels like it's about ready to fly. Whatever the situation is, whatever's been on hold, whatever's been moving slowly is about ready to take off. All right. And it's going to be propelling you forward. It's going to be a lot of movement forward. So try not to have any emotional reactions to things. Make sure that you're tapping into your logical side. Like we can't just be all facts and no emotion, and we can't be all emotion and no fact. So we got to make sure that we keep some sort of balance in both of those areas. Walking that line. 888. This is one of the numbers I see all the time. So karma, balance, finances, success, wealth, cycles, what goes around comes around. And that's really true, man. What goes around comes around. It might not be exactly the way that you expect, but it all, like, what's done in the dark always comes to light. What goes around comes around. That is for absolute true. It might not be in the way that we expect it to happen. Like if you got cheated on or something, like you want to see the person that cheated on you get cheated on with, but things happen in such strange ways, like they learn their lesson eventually, and you get to see it. You get to watch it unfold in their life. I think we have to play all parts though. Like we have to play the liar, we have to play the lied to, we have to play the heartbroken, the heartbreaker, we have to play the victim, the advocate, the hero. We have to be the one that we gotta see it from all aspects in order to really truly understand, what how our actions and our reactions play out. But it says a lot of money is coming your way. Fortune refers to more than just monetary and material success. If you don't appreciate the people in your life now, you won't have them tomorrow. This message encourages you to take personal responsibility and use it to realize your greatest potential. So there might be certain situations or people that you have in your life that you could be taking for granted, or you might just not appreciate them. They say that absence makes the heart grow fonder. We always want what's rare, what we can't have. It's like anything that's given to us too easily, we don't appreciate. But then if it's taken away from us, then we're like, wait, 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 whoa, 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 hold up, wait up. But wealth, like true wealth, isn't money. True wealth is the relationships you have with people, the memories that you create, the experiences that you have, the slow mornings, the laughter, money is cool and all, and it says you're going to be getting a lot of it, but it's like wealth is it contains so much more than just money. Some people are so poor, all they have is money. It's like they don't have any love, they don't have any happiness, they don't have any, they don't have community, they don't have a network. It's like all they have is net worth with no network, and they have no real love in their life. And some people are jealous of people that have a lot of money, but it's like some people, like, that's all they have, like they ain't got nothing else. It's like all they have is fucking money. And money absolutely will not buy you happiness. It doesn't buy you happiness. It can buy you experience, to go and have a good time. But if you ain't got nobody to have that good time with, then it's like, I don't know, nobody to share it with, nobody that's true in your circle. It's like that fucking sucks, But I feel like things are turning. What goes around comes around. So however you have treated other people is how you're going to be treated. However, I don't know, it's not Captain Karma. It's not like Captain Karma is going to come around and kick everybody's ass, but it's like whatever lessons you've learned, like you'll have a chance to repeat things. But if you're doing some shit that you shouldn't be doing, you know, um, I think we get our asses handed to us the most when we're doing stuff that we know we shouldn't be doing. I don't know, something about taking accountability and personal responsibility and use it to your greatest potential. So it's not your job to teach other people to be a good people. It's only your job to be a good person, right? It's not like sometimes like we give all of our love to the wrong people, but in reality, it's like that's not an us problem. Like we will never get punished for really loving somebody else. That's a them problem, how they receive it, what they do with it. It's not up to you how they receive it, how they take it, if they take advantage of it or what they do with it. That's a them problem. We can't teach other people to be a good people. All we can do is lead by example, and be discerning in our life, cut off what we feel is not for us, and quit investing in things that have no turnaround, you know. Connection. A special connection will open doors for you on your path. It may be a partner or a mentor, a client or a helpful friend. Connections are part of our wealth, right? Having good connections, having that solid foundation of good connection, having somebody that we can trust, somebody that we can laugh with, somebody that we can be real with, somebody that can be real with us, somebody that lets us know when we're fucking up, like, hey, like you be fucking up, you know what I mean? You should probably not do that. You should probably not be doing that. If there's something that you're doing that you shouldn't be doing, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. Because when you get caught doing it, your ass is going to be handed to you. And you're going to wish that you wouldn't have done that. But the only mistakes we make in life are the ones we don't learn from. So unless you honestly know you shouldn't be doing that, then it's a mistake. You'll have an opportunity to do it again. But that goes back to playing all roles, that goes back to being the heartbroken, to being the heartbreaker. There's been times that I've been, so in love with somebody, or I thought that I was so in love with somebody, and they didn't want nothing to do with me, and it broke my heart and taught me a lot. But it's like, at the same time, there's been people that have been super in love with me that I didn't want nothing to do with, and it's broke their heart. Like, I've been the heartbreaker, I've been the heartbroken. It's like, I know what it feels like to be on both sides of that coin. Like, I know what it feels like to be cheated on. I know what it feels like. Like, I cheated on somebody once, and it was fucking horrible. It broke my heart to hurt that person the way that I hurt that person. Where I'll never do that shit again. It happened when I was a teenager, and I will never, ever, ever be that person ever again, because it hurt me so bad to hurt that person. And sometimes we gotta play that card. We got to know what it feels like to be the victim, to be the victor, to be the villain, to be the hero. We got to play all parts in order for us to understand any of it. But it feels like there's some sort of special connection that you got with somebody. There's a connection that's either going to help you, help you push forward, help you maintain control, or help you open doors to your own ability, help you remind you of who you really are, like your divinity. But you can't go back and change nothing. All you could do is learn and move forward. And it's about to pop off. Something's about to pop off. And whatever's done in the dark always comes to light. So if you're doing some shit you shouldn't be doing, then stop doing it. Because the universe will fucking throw a boot in your ass. I think that's what we get. We get the most punishments for the shit that we know we should not. Like, nah, I shouldn't be doing this. You know what I mean? I shouldn't tell that lie. I shouldn't sleep with this person. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't. If you got to erase it, you got to lie about it, you got to do whatever to cover it up, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. You know what I mean? It's so much easier just to own your shit and let people fall away as they fall away, or they can either accept it or they won't, but at least give them the chance to make up their own mind, and vice versa. I don't know. Being human is strange. It's a very long, strange experience. And short all at the same time. So just remember, what goes around comes around. And what's done in the dark absolutely will be brought to light. No matter what. I think that's kind of universal law. And you can't go back and change anything from the past. All you can do is live in the now and learn from whatever it is that you've done, or whatever it is that somebody else has done, and move forward. But don't be bleeding on people that didn't cut you either. And don't be letting other people bleed on you that you didn't cut. Right? All right, you guys. I love you so very much. This is your reading for May 5th through the 11th. And until next time, be good to yourself and others, always and always. Beep, beep.